Welcome to the UGAsports.com postgame overreaction show presented by Benton & Benton Attorneys at Law. I'm your host, Paul Meharry, joined by Andy Stowe. The link is in the description if you crazy folks want to come and join us. Jason Butt will be here after he gets done with his article. Riding the Bulls, he'll be here when he gets done with Coach Donnan's house. But I'm here with you now. Andy's here with you now. I don't quite understand that game. It hasn't processed to me yet, and we're all going to try to process this together. I hope that you all took your blood pressure medicine. Andy's still shaking over there.
Can't stop shaking.
What a crazy game. Before we get going, though, if it's your first time watching, you picked a hell of a time to come join us. We'll be on for the next 2 or 3 hours at least. If it's your 50th time watching, let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Your comments help move and generate the show more than you know. So drop a comment, hit the like button. Let us know that you're here. And if you feel so inclined, if you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. Like I said, you can come join the show and give us your thoughts on it. But Georgia wins 44-42 in 8 overtimes over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Somehow Georgia won this game, Andy. Like I do with everybody, let me know your instant analysis of this game.
We didn't score a point in the first half for the first time since 2018 or whatever. And it looked like a team that didn't want to be there. It looked like they were just, I don't know, dude. And then somehow, like when we scored, I guess it was in the fourth quarter, they went up 27-13. You know, I texted you guys. I said, it's over. I was like, this game is over. Somehow we just keep on coming back. And then Garrett Keys at the stadium, he's like, guys, it's happening. He's like, something's about to go. We scored the next play. I don't know what that was. 8 overtimes. You saw the first half team that was terrible and the second half team that they couldn't stop us. I really don't know. I can't stop shaking. I mean, you can see me literally shaking, and somehow we kept our season alive. We pulled it out 7 in a row versus Georgia Tech. And even I never would have guessed it. I never thought it would be close, but dude, beating Georgia Tech at home, some crazy stuff like that. That's what football's about. That's why football's so good. So, and it is Saturday in Athens.
Yeah. Caleb Peavy says Saturday in Athens. Yeah, they had to wait in Athens to actually win this game until it became Saturday in Athens. A lot of questions, right? There's a lot of questions with this team.
Defense, offense, both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Special teams.
Teams.
You know, there's a lot that needs to get broken down, and we will do that over the next 2 to 3 hours with you guys here. But just I have my stepdad, Georgia Tech grad, brother-in-law, huge Georgia Tech fan. I'm in a group chat, of course. Andy, they're coming at me strong.
I bet they are.
First half, dude. First half, they're first half warriors on me. In the fourth quarter, I think I text them, "Hey, great win. You guys, Haynes King, hell of a player."
Dude, look, and I thought his arm was broken. I didn't think he could throw the ball, and he's zipping some balls through there.
Dude,
that's a football player. I give it.
Hats off to Haynes King. Hats off to Buster Faulkner. Buster Faulkner made himself some money tonight.
Buster Faulkner may be auditioning for a job. Just saying.
If he did, he done a hell of a job.
Oh man!
But there's just so many guys that contributed to this game for Georgia, and a ton of guys for Georgia. I mean, this was one of those games, Andy, that we'll all look back on in 5, 10, 20 years.
Oh yeah.
And say, you know, hey, where were you when that game happened?
Dude, maybe next week after the SEC championship game, you'll say that's why. Who knows? We may still be in the playoff no matter what next week. Maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, you'll say, y'all remember when we won that Friday night game versus Georgia Tech, and now we're holding this big trophy? Who knows what's going to happen, dude? Like, I see people talking about Dan Jackson. Dude is a freaking baller. That guy is next level good. So.
And the craziest part too was, Andy, it happened so fast, right? With the multiple overtimes. I don't know how many times Georgia Tech had the chance to seal the game, and how many times Georgia had the chance to seal the game. It feels like Georgia maybe had 2 or 3 chances, but it seemed like Georgia Tech had like 4 or 5.
Like every time they were getting the ball, I did.
And Georgia's defense had to hunker down every time, or it was ball game.
Yeah,
and then you have the pass interference on Smile Munden right there at the end. The ball gets
and when that happened, I said that's it. I was like, it's ball game.
So when the ball was put at the 1.5 yard line, and I saw Haynes King lined up back there. I said, okay, they're not going to try to sneak this thing. I thought for sure, because the ref said 1 yard line. I thought they were on the 1. He's going to sneak it in, ball game. You weren't going to be able to stop it. They didn't do that though. Just a crazy game. We got Lisa Murphy in here saying go Dogs. We got, oh man, the doctor's in town. All right. Okay. Tighten up, guys. We got James Caraway in the building, Caleb Peavy. We appreciate all of you guys watching. If you do feel so inclined, hit that button. John's here. He's waiting. We're about to bring on Big John. I don't know.
Him on.
John's been pessimist for many years, Andy. But this year he's changed. He's like the Grinch. His heart's grown. His
heart's getting bigger. Hey, is he riding? Is he on the island?
I don't know what we're gonna have today though. Big John.
What's up?
How's it going?
How are y'all? You see this hat right here? This is not a Cincinnati Red. This is Carrollton Trojans. We're headed to Buford next week. But first, I'm wearing this tonight for number 32. Because that Joker all year, his whole career, I love UGA sports, but there's a lot of my fellow comrades in there that have been dogging him. That Joker's made play after play. And go back and watch that game tonight. He made a play.
Well, for the guys that don't know, who's 32, because there's 2. And both of those guys have been dogged.
I'm talking about the one from the City of Dreams, Carrollton, Georgia, Chaz Chambliss. Yeah. Chaz Chambliss. And I hope I don't get in trouble. I'm not going to cuss. I'm going to try not to. I'm not going to. But here's the deal. And Coach Donnan gave me a quote that made me run through a wall. He said, the greatest Bulldog of them all, Dan McGill said, you put the candy in their mouth and you take it away. Haynes King, give him his participation trophy. He played a great game. But if you want the biggest steak on the plate, you got to knock Big Brother's ass out. And they couldn't do it. Brent Key can talk all the shit he wants. Hey, Georgia Tech, you may be back. Great. You were up 17 with under 5 minutes. 14 with under 5 minutes to play. And if you go back and look, he's even getting in his defense's tail when we go down to score to cut it within 7. He's like, what the F are y'all doing? That was the game right there. That was the game.
Here's my flip of the game, and I'll give it to both of you guys. What was it? 6 minutes left in the game. Georgia Tech was up by a touchdown, and then Haynes King ran it in to put them up by 2 scores.
At 11 yards.
That was the best thing that could have happened for Georgia, because Georgia was able to get the ball back. They kept all their timeouts, and that helped them actually. Yeah. And if you look back on that, there's going to be a lot of things that Brent Key, looks back on this game, and Kirby too, rightfully so. Neither team played near a perfect game.
Dude, what if Arian Smith catches that ball in the first drive?
Sure.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is Brent Key's going to look back on that and say, man, we maybe could have taken some more clock out right here and really taken this game away. Instead, you're never going to tell your quarterback to not go score a touchdown, right? But looking back on it, right when it happened, I was like, that's the best thing that could have happened for Georgia, because they get the ball back and then they can kind of control this clock. Now, luckily for Georgia, they went and scored, right, John? Not all teams can go do that. So if you're Brent Key, you want your team to score that second touchdown, you're up by 2 touchdowns, you feel great. But Georgia, they just have that extra gear. And I think the thing that is the most frustrating, and we'll get into it later on the show too, but the thing that's the most frustrating, John, is Georgia has that second gear. But damn it, man, if they just don't put it into second gear until it's absolutely 100% necessary. There is no reason why they can't put it into second gear early on in the game.
No, and it's been a repetitive problem, and obviously that's who they are. You're happy with the win. You're probably guaranteed a playoff spot, I would think. Who knows? They may hold this against us.
They kept saying that on TV. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're guaranteed a spot yet. I don't know.
You play a schedule. This game may hurt them. I don't know why it would, because you came back from 20 or 14 down and never had the lead till overtime.
Well, you came back from 17 down. That's what it was, 17-0 at half. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if this game. I don't know if this puts us in yet. I think we're knocking on the door, but I'm not so sure yet. I don't know. They kept saying it on TV, but I'm sure they know. But I don't know.
John, how do you go to sleep tonight?
Me?
You're here.
I don't know.
Yeah, how do you?
I don't know. I listen to you guys, I guess, and try to. I mean, got a long day. At least there's no pressure tomorrow. It'd have been a long day. tomorrow.
Right.
I don't know if I'd watch. I probably still would have watched. But hey, listen, definitely not. As Forrest Gump says, I'm not a smart man. But analytics bit the coaches, each coach tonight.
God.
Kirby on the field goal, Coach Smart, and then Coach Key on that 4th and 1 punt and make them go the length of the field. Because what happens? You don't get it. That set them up. And another play, the officiating to go back. That joker for Georgia Tech fumbled that ball. He made a football move. That receiver that they called an incomplete pass. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. But
Jamal Haynes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That looked that did look a little suspect. There was one play though. There was a couple on both sides. There was one where Carson definitely should have had a hold on Fairchild. They didn't call it. That was all over Twitter. Yeah. Tech was mad about that. There's a couple that they missed tonight.
Well, Georgia, and I want to know. I'm sorry to interrupt you, man. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, I'm done. I'm done. It's your show, baby.
Georgia Tech was cutting inside the box when people were engaged like crazy too. But again, there's so many things that were missed on both sides. Bottom line is you gotta knock Big Brother's ass out, and they didn't do it. Hey, offspring for the participation trophy. Hey, go to the Gator Bowl, hang your hats on a moral victory, because that's clearly what that program is. They've always been second rate. They've always hung their hat on being rich engineers. Go do it. But you had your chance to break a program. You had a chance to set your program on a path
for
years to come by spoiling Georgia's chances of the playoffs, and had it done and didn't do it.
Well, it's like when we play Alabama, you got to knock them out. You can't let them sit there, and they couldn't knock us out. And you look at, they start, 27-13, here we come. And we just keep coming back and we take the lead. So, yeah, I agree. I do got a question for you. We're talking about the fumbles. Did Nate Frazier fumble down there on the 1 yard line or whatever?
I think he did, but obviously he did, because he was ticked off too. He was mad at himself.
Yeah, he was mad. He was mad at himself.
That was the telltale sign to me. He knew it, but again, it was the angle. So it was close. It was really close. So I think it's one of those deals. But yeah, I think he fumbled too.
And to keep up with my pessimistic or negative attitude, I'll say something negative again. Xavier Truss. Of course, it didn't matter because we didn't convert. A terrible penalty at a crucial time for a sixth-year guy. I mean, you hope if Georgia can go on and do good things that it doesn't continue to bite us. But again, hey, hats off to another guy that has stepped up. Monroe Freeling has played awesome since the Tennessee game at left tackle. And I love Ernest Green. Obviously, he's hurt, but Monroe Freeling. And I'll tell you another guy he's had a great start, rough. He's been getting beat up a little bit on message board. CJ Allen had another great night tonight.
He looked good tonight. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
John, we appreciate you.
Thanks,
my friend.
guys. Sorry. See y'all after an SEC championship, I hope.
Hey, maybe so. See you, John. Let's get JB in here. Your old Jason Butt.
What's up?
What's up, y'all? How are y'all doing?
Blood pressure is finally starting to sink down to reasonable levels that the doctor would clear me to be able to leave the hospital, but luckily I didn't have to. Jason, I'm gonna be really honest with you, Jason. My wife was asleep, got the two kids asleep, right? There was a time there, I want to say fourth overtime, maybe third. I was real close to going and waking up and be like, hey, I think you need to take me to the hospital. Something's going on in this general area. And it's
my buddy Eric, shout out Eric. He texted me. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the text real quick. It's hilarious. He goes, I am too fat for this. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Dude, I got a text from a buddy who was like, I'm gonna have a substantial stroke very soon if this doesn't end. And not to make light, I mean, my grandfather passed away from a heart attack and all that. Like, nothing, not to make light of any of that, but it's just, that's what it felt like, man. It's just crazy.
I thought I was going to throw up. I was watching it and I was like, I'm about to throw
Jason,
up.
Before we got on, because I asked Andy, I was like, hey, Jason's going to be running a little late. You mind, coming on here so my face isn't, huge on the screen, right? He's like, yeah, no problem. He gets on here. He's like, can you see I'm shaking a little bit here?
Okay. Well, Jason, tell us what you think about that game, and then
I do want to give a story real quick. So as you can tell, I'm not at my house. I'm at a buddy's house visiting over the holidays, and you can see this. I'm not gonna put up. He's a big Giants fan, so before Daniel Jones went into the tank, he's got a Daniel Jones autograph that I made fun of him. I hadn't seen it before, and I was like, "This is ridiculous, dude. What are you gonna do?" He goes, "I'm gonna trash." Anyway. It's 27. So he's not a Georgia fan. His wife is. And 27-13, they go to bed.
Really?
They go to bed. They're done.
Are they asleep now?
They're asleep right now.
So they don't know the outcome to the game.
They don't know the outcome.
Oh, no. Are you serious?
Amazing.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
So instant analysis, Jason, what just happened, man?
I'll tell you what, man. I had as with any of these games that just flip in the last 2-3 minutes, I had everything written out. It was going to be super harsh on Georgia. I mean, I tell you what, this defense. I thought last week, I said on this show last week that this defense had to, that they could probably come ready to play and fix those things. They weren't ready to play against Ole Miss. They weren't ready to get up for the game, et cetera. And then the same things happened. And it really wasn't until the fourth quarter when they were like, oh my gosh, we might actually lose to Georgia Tech. I tell you what, if the heart of Dan Jackson could be put on every other player on this team, they'd be better off. I mean,
dude,
that kid had the best the play of the season. I think Jesse Palmer said it was the play of the game. I mean, that was the play of the season. Unless the committee goes, bonkers next week, Georgia should be in the playoff regardless of what happens. And it's because of that play. Georgia Tech otherwise can run the ball out, win the game, and then it's do or die next week. And honestly, right now with the way the defense is playing, do we trust Georgia at the moment? Do we trust them to get ready in a week to play a defensive masterpiece the way they did against Texas the first time, whether it's Texas or Texas A&M? So that's kind of where I'm at. And I felt bad for Carson Beck, which is really weird for me to say. I thought he played a really good game. He has played a good game the last few weeks, and the drops came back in the full view. The offensive line couldn't help him with the run game, and you could tell there was that one moment early in the third quarter where it looked like he wanted to go murder somebody, and Tate Radlett had to talk him off the edge, and you wish the quarterback wouldn't be like that. But at a certain point, I sympathize with him, and so I don't know what to make of this team. They're 10-2. They're playing for an SEC championship, but man, they have more flaws than I've ever seen in the Kirby era outside of year one, which we all expected. So I don't know. I don't know what to think, but hey, they got to win. Tech's on the rise. This was not. I didn't think this was going to be a blowout by Georgia. I predicted a close game, and I didn't expect it to go the way it went. I thought Georgia would kind of be in ahead and have to fend off Tech, but it is what it is. And kudos to Buster Faulkner. I thought he called a tremendous game. And the last point I do want to make is kind of like last week. If we're going to put as much heat as we have on Mike Bobo, we got to put the same heat on both the defensive coordinators, T-Rob and Schumann.
Yeah, so is Glenn Schumann for sure still calling the plays? Because I see people are talking about that. They said, did Kirby take over play calling? So
no, I don't think so. I think
So if that's the case, something's different.
The big thing, Jason, you pointed it out, and I'm glad you did. I think I'm a Beck sympathizer now, man.
Mm-hmm.
After
the receivers, man,
after watching
Arian Smith,
you could see how dejected he was after some of those drops where he's like, dude, I can't do anything else.
Yeah,
you guys are not getting open, right? Like and when you do get open, you drop the ball. Like you could tell when he's back there in the pocket, he's looking around and he's ready to slang it around. Nobody's open. And it's so frustrating. They have 4 drops technically. And we know how this is, Jason, with the UGA stat book. It's not always accurate, but there are 4. There's at least 4 that they credited drops to. Dominic Lovett had 1, Dylan Bell had 1, and Arian Smith had 2.
Trying to think.
I know they had at least 4. I know they had at least those.
Then
4.
Lovett also had the fumble.
Just a lot that kind of to break down in this game. And I think realistically, right now what we're all doing, if I could speak for everybody that's in the chat and Jason and Andy, we're all just trying to take this in. Like you want to talk about an adrenaline rush. You're so far hot. It's an 8 overtime game. There's only one game that's gone to more overtimes. By the way, this new overtime thing is absolutely dog shit. It's terrible. 2-point conversions back to back. No, thank you. Give me back the old one, please. But this is what we have, so we've got to deal with it. 8 overtimes. They're walking up and down the field. They're going back and forth. It's just one of those. We're all just trying to decompress, guys. And I see all the comments. I'm trying to get to them, but it's just Hamilton. I know Hamilton in real life. He says, "I'm watching it all over again." See, that's a true psychopath right there. Could you imagine? Could you imagine just going and putting yourself through that for the next 4 hours?
I couldn't do it again, but not tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Not tonight though.
But no, I think there's a lot to break down in here. We got a new member that just joined us. Where'd it go? Alderman, we appreciate you. He is a new YouTube member. You can join and you get special perk privileges. You can watch all the YouTube shows that are behind the paywall, if you will, the rumors versus facts. And then also your messages, like Antoine's right here. He's got the little subscriber next to his name. When I see that over here, I can actually, it pops to me so I can click on it. That's why you always see, it's not that I like James Carraway, but his name's a different color over here. So I see it gets put on. He says, I need those blood pressure meds, dude. Pass them around.
Yeah, I think everyone needs them. Yeah.
Shout out to KC too. He's always donating. He says, killing me. Same defense that shut out Vols second half. Yeah. When this team's back is against the wall, Jason.
Well, how many yards passing did Haynes King have the first half? Did he go over 300 the first half?
He had 303 total. I doubt he went for 300 in the first half.
It didn't seem like they were throwing the ball much in the first half.
They had 300. I guess they had 300 total yards in the first half, right? And then they ended up with 563. So.
Yeah, no, it was bonkers. Yeah, he had 5 touchdowns. Haynes King accounted for 5 touchdowns.
They have Carson Beck in here for 5 touchdowns as well. I guess that's just how they're gonna score those overtime.
Well, yeah. So the overtime stats count until the 2-point conversion. So the 2 drives, the 2 drives. So we had the touchdown to Cash Jones, and then who was the first touchdown to in overtime? I'm blanking right now, but so you get the stats in overtime. So back in the day when it was those long, you go 4 or 5
the
overtime.
first was Cash Jones on that wheel route.
Yeah. So he had 5. Yeah, damn. He had 5 touchdowents.
But he had 297. So I mean that's
5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, but 2 in overtime.
But still, he had 5.
Good game. I mean, he had a good game, and that's the thing. It could have been better. And then what kills me is the first drive where it was Arian
Smith
first drop, and you take all the momentum, and Tech then just controls time of possession.
If that play doesn't happen, I think we score on that first drive, and I think we blow them out. I swear, this is happening almost every game. We see a drop pass on the first drive. We've seen it.
Also, I said this to both of you guys on separate shows last week that Kirby was going to bring up the fact that they played on Saturday and Tech played on Thursday. Sure enough, in his post-game conference on the field with ESPN, he was like, hey, they had a couple more days than we did. It was a quick turnaround for us. They played Thursday. Mm-hmm. I knew it was coming. Coming.
Wow.
It
didn't seem like they weren't prepared. They didn't execute. And that's really been the theme all year. I mean, It's interesting to watch a team like this where I think when a team has played so well over the last 4 or 5 years and then you get a point where the players just aren't doing the things that you're accustomed to this team doing, whether it's at quarterback, receiver, offensive line especially. That's been just unbelievably bad, especially when it comes to running the football and even on defense. And lately the problem has been on the defensive side of the ball more so than offense. I mean, the tackling has been atrocious, and secondary play hasn't been great. And
but the tackling, we kind of wrap guys, or we have guys bottled up. I mean, we just don't tackle.
God awful this game, like it was bad.
Do y'all think
it started on the first drive? It started on the first drive with Haynes busting free off of a 2-yard run that he bounced the outside for 44.
But y'all think it has something to do with they bottle them up and think they're going to call the play dead, and then they don't. They just take off.
Know.
You got to hit somebody, dude. If you don't hear that whistle, you hit. Taco Leg with the $5 donation. He says, Tech opened their veins trying to win that game. No way they could get through a season playing that style every week. I agree. Haynes King,
he's hurting tomorrow,
dude. Yeah. I don't know. Like realistically, who's the last guy that you saw? And it doesn't have to be Georgia because we're obviously going to be talking about Haynes King right here. Who's the last guy that you saw that put up a performance like that? To where
Johnny Manziel, maybe, I don't know.
I don't want to.
That's the first one that pops in your head. Just shout out to that kid, man. Nobody thought there was rumors going around this morning that he wasn't going to be playing. Like he hasn't played in their last 3 games. They said his arms attached, mechanically now, right? Because it was about to fall off. That was my joke last week. I was like, it's holding on by Georgia Tech kids that are, biomechanically remade his shoulder. And here he is, 26 of 36, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 110 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Shout out to that kid, man. He played his heart off.
413 yards.
And you saw, I don't know if anybody caught it. Josh Brooks went up to him at the end of the game. They caught them right there at the end of the post game. And he says, you're a warrior. You're a warrior to him. He passes on the head, so shout out to him again, man. Omari's in the building. He says, just throw the ball to Lovett and Bell on the tight ends. Yeah. Not a lot of 13. I don't think they had 13 personnel out there all night.
What was that? I thought after last week, that's what we would run. I thought we'd run it 70% of the time. So.
Yeah.
Might as well just run 4 tight ends at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not great out there.
Dylan Bell only had 2 catches though. Like Dylan Bell, he's more reliable than these other guys. And look, I don't know why Roger Robinson kept getting in the game. Why Nate Frazier only had 11 carries. What's that? Nate Frazier should have been touching the ball more. I mean, Roger Robinson, you can tell he's still not healthy all the way. He didn't have that explosion. And then Nate Frazier gets in and scores the final touchdown.
Yeah, I was not understanding that all the way. Whoa, Mr. Sampson gifting 5 Georgia Bulldog football memberships out. Look at him. Okay. Feeling generous tonight. We appreciate that. If you got a gifted membership to the UGA Sports YouTube channel, make sure to at Mr. Sampson right there. We appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Gave 5 of. Oh, Jermaine got one.
Boom,
Hell yeah, Jermaine. Hell yeah, awesome. Marshmutt says, "Remember when we were worried about Philo?" Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, just goes to show you, Jason and Andy, that they can redshirt him now. He didn't have to play.
Yeah. They got their wish, I guess.
The rumor was true. The rumor was true. He didn't play. He got his red shirt. Yeah. Justin Farm with the donation says, "Go freaking Dogs." Yeah, man. Just incredible total evening here. I
love this one. Paul Derringer saved Nate Frazier for that 8th overtime.
Yeah, that's what it was. He knew once we got there, it was over.
You know what was crazy, though? I was thinking about just on Georgia Tech side is that Georgia could not stop the quarterback run for most of the game. And I think for, 6 straight overtimes?
6 overtimes.
They threw the ball. I mean,
there has to be, because I started thinking about that, Jason. There has to be some type of analytical percentage higher if you're passing the ball than you're running the ball. There has to be, because they were killing Georgia on that. Whatever that RPO, getting the tight end out the backfield with the running back on this,
they just kept doing that.
Oh man, they had 3 defenders every time. They were every time sucking in on the running back.
They didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
that is some sorcery type shit that Buster Faulkner was drawing up, man. Like that offense, if you get, and I'm not knocking Haynes King, Justice Haynes.
I know what you're about to say.
Singleton, any of those guys. I'm not knocking any of them. They're all really good players. But if you put that offense with I don't know, an Alabama caliber offense or an Ohio State caliber, because I would say Georgia normally it wouldn't change much with Georgia this year.
Our last year players.
Last year with Ladd and Brock Bowers with that offense that Faulkner's running, dude. You would you talk about even fits, dude.
Could you imagine Brock Bowers running that craziness? And dude, that would be some Xbox stuff right there.
Yeah, Yeah, he's literally running a create a playbook over there for Tech, and shout out to them. But they didn't win. 44-42. Georgia wins. Chris says Bell was back. That's why we didn't have 13 personnel. Yes, you're right, Chris. That is probably why. But does that mean that 13 personnel shouldn't have been ran? Maybe. I don't know.
It just seemed like it worked really well for us last time. And
yeah, I like it a lot.
I mean, I just like it when guys catch the ball. That's really what it comes down to.
How about Jurasek? He's catching the ball good now. That dude is good.
Yeah. So throw the ball to the guys who catch the ball. I mean, receivers, tight
A lot
ends,
of folks in the chat tonight, guys. I've seen a little bit of Bobo, a lot of Schumann hate. So please take the UNC job, please. We need a new DC. And look, I think you said it best, Jason. Folks have been trashing Bobo all season.
Yeah.
It's time that Glenn Schumann gets a little bit of that love too. That defense did not play up to the Kirby Smart standard at all, and didn't tackle, out of position. Just doesn't look like a Kirby Smart defense. But the only thing that it does look like a Kirby Smart defense is it's got dudes on it. So it's got the Jalen Walker still, and they've got the guys that can just make the plays. But the actual defensive scheme is not what we're used to there. And it's time to let him be a little humble pie too. If you're going to blame Bobo, you got to blame the guy that gave up 42 to Tech too.
I was chatting with a couple friends, texting during the game, and it's like, okay, what's the common thread here? I mean, throughout all of started with Mel Tucker, then it was Dan Lanning, and then it was Will Muschamp, and throughout this whole time, Glenn Schumann's been there. Yes. And now this is the first time where it was just, okay, he stays and we bring somebody different in, but it's more so Glenn Schumann running the show. And
so are you saying he's better as a second tier coach? Blaine Gilmer.
We got Blaine in the building.
I'm just saying this because, obviously, those guys can do, they know way more about the game and all that than we do. And he's been great at, historically at Georgia at developing linebackers. But look, this defense has regressed as the season's gone.
It has. And that's every position coach isn't a coordinator, and every coordinator is not a head coach. So
you're right.
And I think that's the thing. Georgia defenses start strong, get better, and then they're, you look at 21 and 22. Hell, you look at 17. I think back to Kirby's second year where that defense, they had the one hiccup against Auburn, but they just got better and better, and they didn't have the lapses. And so many of these lapses are mental or fundamental. And these were highly recruited guys for the most part. And then the best player on your defense right now is the former walk-on. And that includes the guy who's up for the Thorpe Award, who I'm sitting there wondering how he's up for the Thorpe Award.
Yeah, I'm not sure
name recognition, right? It's got to be. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man, that you look and you scratch your head. I haven't even looked at the let's see, defensive wise. Damn. Smile Munnon 13 tackles.
Yeah.
CJ Allen 10 tackles. Dalen Everett 10 tackles. We got to talk about 6 though. We got to talk about 6.
When your DBs are up there in your total tackles, that's not good.
We got to talk about 6. And then Malachi Starks with 10 tackles as well. Only 1 sack. Smile Munnon's 1 sack. No interceptions. They had 3 pass breakups. Only 3 tackles for loss. Smile had the one with the sack, obviously. CJ and Raylan Wilson. So 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, no interceptions. Also on the punt return from Anthony Evans, first time we've seen him back in a little while. They got lucky there. They were able to get on the ball there. Smart play by Chaz Chambliss getting on that ball that Dan knocked out. Fooled the cameraman because we didn't know. Didn't know what the hell was going on. And they had the ball. I was like, dude, he's been down for a while. I was like, dude, don't do that. Like the fake, like, oh, we got the ball, And then I was like, oh shit, they do have the ball because the camera just completely lost it. So lot of talk in the chat about Arian Smith. We'll touch on Arian as well.
And I do think I want to throw this out there. William Stevens' comment: Kirby had to call the defense. I mean, obviously we don't know for sure, but it's interesting, man, because he was looking at the formation, calling the timeout, and then relaying whatever it was that he was seeing. I mean, I think that's a really good observation right there. Shout out, William.
You noticed he was in the middle of the huddle, and Glenn Schumann wasn't over there. Kirby was telling them, and they went out. I noticed that immediately. I was like, whoa, something changed, and our defense did start playing a little better. So who knows?
We got a donation from Retro, the UGA fan. Says Harris body frame is too big to be afraid to hit. I can agree with that. Appreciate the donation, my friend. Appreciate that. We've got $5 from Stephen Goodell. It's my bad. Can't wait to see these, quote, tough SEC teams play in the cold if the committee actually seeds them that way. Respect to y'all if you do it. Big Ten fan. Wow. We appreciate the $5. I would love to see, dude.
It's Midwest nice right there. I like it.
Yeah, you're not the only one, Stephen. I would love to see some SEC teams go up and play in some snow, like Penn State, whiteout, snow game. Come on.
We'll say it was 35 degrees in Athens tonight, though, so that's not warm. So.
Yeah, it was a little cold, a little chilly. Yeah. Let me get before I let you go, Andy. We'll get our good friend on here. I'll 4-box this thing real quick, just for you, Andy.
What's going on, guys?
Old James Caraway.
You okay? You alive out there in California? I may die here in Georgia tonight, man.
Barely. Yeah, I'm in Vegas. Came to my family's house. So me and my dad watching it. One of us I thought was going down. But we made
you just didn't know who?
Yeah.
What do you think about that game? Yeah, that's some crazy stuff, man.
I mean, at the end of the day, this team's going to lose in like a blaze of glory. They're going to get crushed by a team that's
no faith,
that's better than them, but they're going to go down fighting. And I can respect that no matter what the score is, this team really doesn't give up. And they're so flawed that, I'd given up on it. I said it was over a couple times, especially when they scored that last touchdown in the second half. I thought it was a wrap, but they're fighters.
Where does this team go, James? I mean, what after watching this, like, can you rationally take anything away from this game? Like, can you as step away, right, and look back on this game? Because the only thing I don't want to say the only thing I can take away two things. I can take away resiliency, super late in the game, but I can also take away that if this team starts like it did against just about anybody else, there's no coming back.
Yeah, they're extremely matchup dependent too. The one thing I can take away is, every time late in the season, playoffs, fourth quarter, Georgia's down, that's where they seem to click, even in that Bama game that they lost. So I'll take that experience. If you give me a close game in the fourth quarter against anybody in the playoffs, Georgia's been through those wars.
What is that?
Sorry, I'm waiting on Ryan to come on for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry, James. Sorry, my bad.
James, I don't mean to cut you off, James.
No.
Shout out to Jason Sutherland, brother. Jason Sutherland with the $500.
Get him on the show. Get this guy on the show.
505 Benjamins.
Someone's doing well.
Wow, sorry.
Someone's had a good month.
And I really hope he didn't mean to put $49.99. There's no refund policy here at UGAsports.com. It stays with us. $4.99. Yo, everybody in the chat, man. Shout out Jason, please. That's amazing.
I saw that. I was trying to read. I was like, is that $4? I was like, it's late. I'm still crazy. Is that $49.99? And I was like, dude, that's $500. And I looked at you, Paul, and I saw your eyes go like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's whoa. Hey, calm down, Dookie Sandwich. He says put that towards the collective so we can support our kids. Look, we're helping you out over here too, all right? It's not you don't have to just give it to the Classic City collective. We're pimping your stuff too, all right? We're doing it for you.
Put up Rant's comment. That's hilarious.
Who is it?
Rant or what?
Jason trying to buy out.
That's good.
Man. Yeah, Mr. Sampson, he's done 100. I do remember that. But hey, again, one more time. Shout out to where is it? Shout out to Jason, dude. $4.99 is incredible. That helps us tremendously, more than you know. Helps us get new mics. It helps us with everything. So we really, really appreciate that.
Roddy's gonna be driving a Hellcat now.
Yeah,
Bertie says that's one of those, quote, I'm so excited we won super chats. Hope he doesn't regret it later. Hey, I don't think he will. That's awesome, man.
Nah, there's no regrets. No regrets.
KC says, I guess he can afford the price of eggs. He can. He can. I think you can too. And then Trip with the 199 says Carson has his mojo back with I don't know what the rest of that is, but we appreciate that. Damn, Jason. All right. Sorry, James, what were you saying?
I don't even know. After $500, yeah, I totally lost my thought there.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about how they seem to keep coming back and forth, and then and the team. You said we may end up getting beat by a team, but you said it's kind of matchup dependent. I think.
Yeah, thank you, Andy, because I
forgot too.
And I don't know if that's what you said, James, but whatever.
It sounded good.
Can you piggyback off of that, please? And that is what you said.
No, yeah, I mean it's a team like Ohio State or Oregon. If they get that lead, they're not giving it away, but. You put us within a score or 10 points in the fourth quarter, I feel comfortable that, it's going to come down to the last possession.
This is the epitome of a, like you said, you're probably going to get your heart broke with this team. And you almost did.
You almost did tonight. Tonight would have been worse than losing to one of those good teams.
The Ole Miss game wasn't so much a heartbreak game. You just kind of got your ass kicked, right?
Yeah.
The Alabama game, got your ass kicked in the first half and you fought back and you were pretty resilient and you walked away kind of with if you want to say a moral victory, if you will. Hey, we came back. If we had one more possession, we could have beat them. Tonight was one of those games that you just walk away and just like Kirby did. Did you guys because Roddy's getting ready to come on. I got to clear some room in here. Did you guys see Brent Key? That man looked like he was crying in Kirby Smart's arms. I think he was, dude.
Yeah. He was.
Oh, and what was he yelling about right before that play? Was he yelling at Kirby for being on the field?
I sure thought he was. Yeah. I think he said, "Get your MF on the sidelines."
I think that's what he said too. And like Kirby's like got his hands in his pockets, like whatever.
Kirby is very lucky that he did not get that second sideline.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's what he was trying to get. Sampson says he was crying. Jermaine says he was crying. If both of them said he was crying, I agree. He was crying.
He was and I was finishing up the what just happened. The news conference came on, and he was very short with his words. He was still very emotional and raw in his press conference. So yeah, he's gonna feel that one for the next 24 hours for sure.
Keith says I was crying too. Oh man, James, much love, brother. Gotta let you run.
See you guys.
Yeah, man.
See you, dude. Andy?
Dude, my final thought is who knows what this team is from week to week, from game to game, from half to half. But I know they're 10-2. They just beat Tech for the 7th time. We're one game away from beating the drought. So that's what we got to do. So one more time.
Hey, I don't know where they go from here, Andy, but they have one more game.
They have
one more history lesson, by the way, the drought.
Yes, the drought. The 8 games. We've got to get 9. That is the thing I want. So I hate Tech. We've got to beat the drought. We've got to. That is the only thing they have over us. No, there's nothing else they have except for the drought. So we've got to take that over. So
you almost didn't have a chance tonight. So
thank
you, Andy, for helping me with the early part of the show, man.
All right, no problem. See y'all. Go Dogs.
Thanks, Andy.
Oh man, let's see if Roddy's internet wants to work, and then we'll get William Carlin in here too. Let's see. It's looking looking a little suspect.
It's a little pixelated.
You all right? You there?
Yeah, no, I am. I just I again hardwired in, checked everything. It worked great Tuesday. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
You looked really good in the background up until about 2 minutes ago, and then it just started getting real pixelated.
I look fine. Yeah, it did right at the last second. It does it every time. It ticks me off. And
so why don't I get Mr. Willie on real quick? You try to do your thing, and then you come back.
I will do.
All right, let's get James says use that 500 for Roddy's Wi-Fi.
Oh man.
Oh man!
I love it.
All right, let's get Mr. Willie on. I think he was at the game tonight. I know he was. There he is.
Yeah.
Mr.
sir.
Willie.
Hey, buddy.
You all right? You got. Are you burned by the cold? Are you okay? Your toes still? Are you have all 10 of your toes still left?
Paul, I've got a bad confession. I got a good friend of mine here with me.
Yeah.
He's got something he wants to tell you.
Okay.
Willie wanted to leave when they scored, and we went down 2 touchdowns with about 6-7 minutes to go. We watched the ending of the ball game in Willie's living room.
That's a hell of an admission, guys.
Look. I'm not going to judge you at all because I'm telling you right now, you know me, my ass would have been walking right out with you because I would have been cold as hell, mad as hell, and I would have been like, all right, start the car up. Let's go. I don't blame you.
The thing is, it wasn't all that damn cold.
It wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't that damn cold. It was fine.
Okay. All
I
right.
was just so frustrated that we looked like we were going to make it a game, and then let them run right back down the damn field and score. So I was like, damn it, Johnny, let's go. And he said,
when did you get home?
By the time we got around to the other side of the stadium, Georgia scored. By the time we got halfway to the parking lot, they tied it up, and I was just heartsick.
They showed Mr. Willie. They showed some folks in the tunnels, right? Because they were leaving out. They showed some folks, and they're staying around, but security is pushing them out the tunnel. So, like those people, at least you were already out of the stadium. You were just hearing the touchdowns. These people actually saw them and were trying to get back to their seats, and the security was like, "Nah, you've come too far. You gotta, keep going, keep going."
But I'll tell you this, my buddy. All right, this is my last game in those seats.
Yeah.
And my buddy JR was in those seats when we were 12 years old. And I'm glad he was there with me.
Yeah.
And I'm just so heartbroken that I left that game. So I'm banned from, the site and all that.
So when did you get home?
Oh, we saw the end of the game at the house. Yeah.
How many
overtime?
We watched 2 overtimes here at the house. Yeah. It's like we left with 6 minutes left in the game when we saw the 7th and 8th overtime here in the living room.
Look, you shouldn't feel too bad, Mr. Willie. Mindy over on Facebook said I left early too. She got the hell out of there at the beginning of the 4th quarter. Keith says I would criticize Willie, but I'm a 40-year-old man hiding behind my couch. I mean, you're not banned. This Paul guy over on YouTube says you do need to run some stairs before you can come back in though. What do you think about the game though? I mean, you missed some of it. You heard it on the radio, but for you, your view is going to be very skewed because you didn't get to see the good. You really only saw the bad.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, okay, we get some momentum, and for whatever reason, we go for 2 and throw it out the window. We get it to a touchdown, and Tech drives the dang field and puts it back up 2 touchdowns. And we have, in the first of the game, it's 3-0. And I turned around, I said, you got to tie the game here.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, when they went for it on 4th down.
And so it's like I was just so frustrated at what I would call a combination of coaching and effort issues. And that's why I left when we, like I said, we get it to a touchdown, we make it a game, and then we let Tech drive the whole dang field. I wanted to go when they had the ball on the 2-yard line and then drove 98 yards.
You wanted to go early.
I was like, oh my gosh,
That was such a frustrating drive just from the standpoint of it was long.
It was just a little bit too early, but I was like, oh man, we're just not even. So that, yeah, I'm just, and then we're right. I'm really, really surprised I didn't wreck coming home, listening to, listening to the overtimes and everything. Because
I could only imagine having to listen to that after you've been at the stadium, right?
Yeah.
You say hell with this, right? I'm going home. And then you hear the crowd for a touchdown, but before you get back to the car, you hear the crowd for the second touchdown. And then you got to listen to that overtime on the way home. Dear God.
Now, all right, let me tell you the next bit of shit that I did. Okay. So I pulled the phone out and I said, okay, we can watch this on the phone,
Right.
So I, me and my elderly self pull it up, and you got to punch this, you got to punch that, and you got to sign in, you got to put your password in. And by the time I got to it, I got the Spanish version of the game. So we're walking to the car, watching it in Spanish on the dang phone. Which, anyhow, I figured that was karma coming back at me.
That's hilarious. That is excellent. That is excellent. Oh man, Mr. Willie, well, I hope you have a good rest of your night. I appreciate you calling in. You going to SEC championship game or no?
They didn't even send me a letter about that. They didn't even send me the email. No, you don't got no near enough points to go to that game, boy. But I do. If we have a home game for the playoffs, I will be at that game.
Oh, okay. So you want them to win, obviously, but you're not going to be broken if they lose that. You might get one more game in the seats.
Possibility.
Yeah.
Of course, after the night, the damn Big 12 team might knock us out of the playoffs the first 4 rounds, first 4 seeds, and we have to do. Anyhow, yeah, I've got seats if we get a home game.
There you go, Mr. Willie. As always, appreciate you calling in. Talk to you soon. Happy Thanksgiving.
Love you, Paul. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving past and go Dogs.
Tell Miss Sue happy Thanksgiving. Thinking about her.
All right, appreciate you.
See ya. Mr. Willie was my minister for my wedding.
Really?
His son is my best friend. Yeah, we started business together. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually had no idea. He comes on every weekend.
That couch he was sitting on, I've slept on that couch many a times.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's bring in Roddy here.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there he is, looking fine as hell. Look at him.
Yeah, it's tough to be this good looking, but
sometimes the internet doesn't even want us to see you.
I basically just restarted the whole thing, and just like Georgia's offense. Who said El Donde? The defense. So what's the defense? Holy shit! What a game!
The wife fell asleep. The wife didn't even watch the game with me tonight. She was in there TikToking in the bed. I was like, "You gonna come out?" She's like, "No, this is too bad." I said, "Okay." And so I'm watching the game by myself, and I'm like, "Dude, I can't just watch this by myself." So I turn on Coach and the guys, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, the second screen experience. I don't normally watch it, right? Because I have to talk to Roddy for 3 hours after the game. I don't want to listen to 4 hours plus 3. It's too much, But I turned it on, and my phone got down to 3% battery. I was like, dude, if we have another overtime, my phone's going to turn off. I'm going to be by myself. This isn't a good place for me to be at right now. So I went and grabbed my phone charger from the bedroom. I'm charging up now, but I thought Coach was just going to pass out. He sounded tired. He was like, dude, if this goes another overtime, I'm leaving you boys here. Lock up on your way out, and I'll see what happens when I wake up.
To be fair, he did call that final timeout. He says, okay, we're going to go down here. They're going to stop it. We're going to stop them, and then we're going to score. And he was beside himself, and I get it too. what happened to Nate Frazier?
Gone.
Georgia's got one running back who could do something. Trevor Etienne out, didn't dress out. Chauncey Bowens in a boot. Rod Robinson playing his first game all freaking year because if there are a couple runs looks good, but then other runs look terrible because, again, dude's got a busted foot. He's just getting back into it, and you're going into all these 2-point conversions. What were they? Were they 2 of 8? No, 2 of 9?
God,
2 of 9.
I don't even know how to read this drive chart. It doesn't even have it on here. It has none of them on here, so I'll have to find that for you.
I'm saying because I was kind of joking. I was like, okay, you're 0-2, then you're 0-3, then you're 0-4, then you're 1-5, then you're 0-6, or 1-6. It was just god awful. And you keep doing it with Rod Robinson on the field. I'm like, what the hell? And here's the thing, big back, completely different. You see him standing next to Kirby Smart, and this is a running back who towers over Kirby Smart. He looks like an absolute mammoth of a man. But he's not your scoring guy. How many reps has he run in Georgia's 2-point conversion drills? He hasn't been there all year. So unless Nate Frazier is dead, put his ass in there. And what happens? They put him in, they hand it to him, touchdown. Or 2-point conversion, game over. Like, he could have fucking did this 10 times already. So coach was losing his mind because he kept saying, where's Frazier? And he kept asking us, is he hurt? I'm like, I don't see anything about him being hurt. And it was just mind-boggling why they couldn't do that. And, we've talked about give Georgia credit for winning the game. I know a lot of people are freaking out about how, the fact that, what was at one point you're still down 16 or down 14. Yeah, 8 minutes and 18 seconds in the fourth quarter. It's 20-6. Your opposition has a 14-point lead with only 8 minutes left in the game. All the credit in the world for Georgia for coming back, but how the hell did you get yourself into that position? And I know everybody wants to. Why did you wouldn't have been in that situation if you hadn't tried to go for it on that first touchdown that you scored? And I'm going to come on here and defend it.
No.
I'm going to. Jesus,
I know why you're going to, but because Kirby thought, he's down 3. If he gets down 3 scores, right? That's what you're going to say. But no, you look at the final score and you're like, man, they had the ball a million times. We said after halftime, I said, I don't know that Georgia can come back from 17 down. I think they could, but you're going to have a situation where you're only going to get 4 touches in the second half. You had 5 in the first half, but one of them was 30 seconds. Yeah,
it was the Kentucky game all over again, Jason. You saw it when they had 4 possessions in the first half against Kentucky, or like 3 and 5, but there was only 8 possessions in that game. And he's like, we're not going to get the ball back. And as much as we want to go at Kirby, that was stupid. And in hindsight, yes, it looks dumb. But he thought I got to catch up to them. We're just not getting there. And he knew how hard a time he was going to have to do it. So, again, I always like to take the opposite side. Yes, I during the watch-along show, I was bitching and moaning about Kirby doing that for a solid – that game was, 4.5 hours? We started at 7:40 and ended like 12:10. That's 4.5 hours. And I complained about it. And I haven't heard – Kirby just said he's not going to get into the analytics of it. I think it's stupid, but, or he's not – at the time I thought it was stupid. Going back, I'm like, when they had that 10-minute drive, you put them back to their 4-yard line. They drove the field and scored a field goal. It took almost 11 minutes off the clock. I'm like, this is why I went for 2. But here's the thing: why go for 2 when you're so bad at it? You're just so bad at it.
Here's my take, Jason. I'll take yours, and then maybe we can.
I had to do a big one.
Damn, Roddy, it looks like a glass of sweet tea. And even I can see that.
Drink it faster.
That can even through your pixelation, I can see that looks huge. No, so let me see if I can get rid of Roddy and then bring him back. Like if his internet gets better, it looks better. Let's see.
I hit it.
It's rough shit. So here's my take on it, and I'll hand it to you, Jason. You finally got momentum in that game, just a tiny ounce of it. and then you go for 2 and you call. I don't even know what that was. Like a wide receiver screen that I don't know what that was. It wasn't your best play by far. And you call that, and then you could hear it. You could hear it like in the stadium. All the momentum that you had just dropped and it was gone. And it was like you didn't even score a touchdown. And Tech's celebrating because they've got you like that. And I get why Kirby would think, okay, I need to do this because of analytics, yada, yada, yada. I just don't feel like that was the time to do it. And again, I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to do this. And I'm not the analytics guy that he has on the sidelines saying, hey, this is the right thing to do. But at the time, it just didn't make sense. And then now hindsight, sure, 2020, he gets those 2 points. Georgia wins the game before overtime overtime's not a thing. You win by 1 point.
Well, they win the game with the extra point in regulation.
That's what yes.
It's not just the 2. Obviously, if you get the 2, you win, but
sure.
With the extra point, you win. So I think it's to me, yeah, you're trying to me, it's a little too early to make that decision. You're down by 9 instead of 10. It's kind of like you see that in the NFL, when you get down by 15 and you're kicking the extra point, but you go for 2. Similar concept, right? That way you get down by 9, your touchdown field goal
to win.
Yeah. I didn't like it because, again, look what just happened. To do that, you have to ensure that your defense is going to stop them the rest of the way. And at that early in the third quarter, I don't think you can think that you're going to be able to do that. And then, of course, as Roddy mentioned, they had a 94 or 92 yards before they kicked the field goal. And then you're down. What was at that point? Yeah, 20-6. And so you're down by 14 instead of 13. And you just screwed yourself in the numbers game there. And so I thought it was chasing points. And I know that analytics, cause coaches to do this. The percentages say, hey, you have this kind of chance, blah, blah, blah. It goes back to the decision to go for it on 4th and 1 when you're down 3-0. Conventional wisdom says kick the field goal. The analytics say, well, actually, if you go for it on 4th and 1, you have X, 55% or whatever the hell it might be.
The problem I had with that, Jason, is that 3rd down play, they were getting ready to sneak it. You saw Tate and you saw Fairchild.
They went to shotgun, yeah.
But the reason they had to is because the chains or some shit was jacked up and they had to pause the game. So they didn't go to that play. Had they been able to run that play, I think they get it. They were in the perfect formation for it. Tech didn't have a chance to react to it. They were getting ready to go. And then they stopped it. Hey, we gotta change the chains around over here, even though it's 3rd and 1, if you know where the spot is anyways, whatever. Had they been able to do that, right, it changes that. But yeah, Justin Farmer, shout out $10, man. He says, I'm not worried about this team, man. We're spoiled. 2 national championships and constantly recruiting top 3 classes. Even after a game like this, all we can do is smile. You're right. I can smile. I don't know about you, Roddy. I can smile. Jason hit us with 500. Jason hit us with 500. So
not me, a different Jason.
Yeah, the other. Yeah.
Southern. Yeah.
No, I mean, you got to be smiling. You just beat Tech. This Kirby Smart is now 50-4 in his last 54 games. I mean, they're undefeated at home. This is the 6th year in a row they're undefeated at home. I mean, it's mind-boggling. The senior class leaves having never lost to Georgia Tech, Auburn, Florida, or Tennessee.
That's wild. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, and I think, and the thing is, this is not. I know a lot of people are probably thinking to themselves, "Well, what the hell? Like, this is Tech. This isn't the same Tech team that hit the absolute lowest of rock bottom under Jeff Collins." Y'all know I had to throw him under the bus for.
Yeah, I knew that was coming at some point. Yeah,
but
hey, be careful. That's a Congress guy.
Oh, Roddy, you haven't heard this man talk about this man. You don't
Brent,
hey, look, I ran on a track team with Jeff Collins, so I know.
Well.
But I'm not defending him. I'm not defending him.
Brent Key has done a really good job with this program. We'll call it how it is, and he's got those guys. I think really what it comes down to is he's motivating those guys, and you could tell that they wanted to win that. They wanted to win that game so bad. and put Georgia Tech, on a national stage with a big upset. This was their biggest game probably. I mean, I probably since the Paul Johnson Orange Bowl team.
Oh yeah,
around that time. I mean, it was a very big deal for those guys. Georgia's trying to get to win, go to the SEC championship, get in the playoff. They have all these visions of accomplishing big things this season, and this is it for Georgia Tech this year. And they're playing a lot better than they were just 3-4 years ago. So this is not, and what they were 7-3 going into this game, or 7-4 going into this game. This is not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. They beat Miami preseason. I mean, obviously they ended up sucking, but kind of shocked everybody with the Florida State win. Not a bad team, Georgia Tech. So I don't think that just the fact that it was a close win shouldn't be of concern. I think obvious.
That is also fair if you look at who they lost to, Jason. I mean, 2 of their losses, weren't they without Haynes King?
Yes. Yeah, because he's been hurt mid-season. But
yeah,
I think the concern from Georgia that you have at the end of all this is the fact that the defense, those issues that were prevalent last week just showed up again, especially in the first half, and they are not improving on that side of the ball. And I think that is something that if we're going to call it how it is, and we're not going to sugarcoat things, that is the thing right now that I think should be. If you're going to take away any kind of a issue or concern, that's it right now.
I'm with you 100% on the things that should concern you. We talk about them being complementary when Georgia's doing right, they're complementary. The offense complements the defense and special teams. Tonight you had, we've seen this before, the anti-complement. The offense, 2 3-and-outs in the first half. You only had 4 of them, 4 drives. You can't you have a great second down play. You pick up 9 yards. You look at 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. You don't convert either of it. You turn the ball over on downs. Then you're moving and you fumble the damn thing. So not only are you having turnovers, penalties, and special teams issue, you miss a field goal. And it seems like every time Georgia loses a game, is somewhere along the line they missed a field. So we can talk about the 2-point play, but what about the missed field goal? And again, I mean, I'm defending the 2-point play just because I get why Kirby did it. I don't agree with it, but I understand my whole thing. I wrote about this in my column on Friday. You're not going to get a whole lot of drives. They're going to control the clock. What was the final time of possession?
It was like 37-22.
37-22, yeah.
God, that's my 15 minutes more. That's an entire quarter that they owned it on you. And Kirby knew that going into it because this is what they're going to do. So I give him credit for knowing what was coming, but your defense couldn't stop anything. Your offense couldn't score. Your special teams, you miss a field goal, and then you have guys putting it on the ground. And remember, on one of those touchdowns, Nate Frazier fumbled.
Oh,
they did the review.
Oh, one
he got lucky with the lack of an angle.
If he hadn't been blocking it out,
no,
if I'm a Tech fan, I'm going to bitch about that for a month.
Look, I thought they had the angle. I was texting in group chats. I was like, "That's a fumble. That's a fumble. That's a fumble."
It was. So again, you fumbled it there. Now, granted, there's a lot of stuff the Tech didn't get called for. There were a bunch of illegal procedures, false starts that didn't get called. Some pass interference. There's some bad pass interference calls in this thing, and a couple that were not called. So we can throw all that out. But it just as in the second half, the offense and defense played off each other and kind of built each other up. In the first half, you're down 17-0. You haven't trailed. You haven't been held scoreless since 2019. I mean, you got your heads kicked in, and everybody was talking about this game before it happened. This is going to be a street fight. It was a street fight. You got your head caved in. So, but I was talking to folks before when I was trying to get some data for my column. I asked folks at Georgia Tech what's going on. They go, they expect to win. It's not they think they can, which is what we've heard in the past. No, they fully expected to come in and win. And the tone was set on the first drive. You get a guy in the backfield, you think you got him down. He picks up 44 damn yards.
That was such bad, yeah.
And there were so many times like that where Georgia was in the backfield. Kirby was defending his first half. I heard him on the radio. I'm going to drive back over here. He's like, we didn't play a bad first half. And I'm like, God damn, Kirby, what's a bad first half to you? You were down 17-0. And he's like, what? We had a sack and then we fumbled the ball. We only had 4 touches at it, and then we didn't get that 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. But we were moving. I'm like, okay. And he says, on defense we just had a few this, that, and the other. I'm like, it felt like everything that could go wrong. Even Tech's busted plays. Tech had so many busted plays. We're like, oh, they got him. 9-yard pickup. So is. The fact that you pulled this victory out is mind-blowing.
Right, I'm gonna get Michael Bishop on here real quick and see if your internet can catch back up to you, because I'm trying to keep up with your mouth, but I can't. It's tough. So let me get Michael Bishop on here and see if you can't get right, because I know Jason's gonna leave me soon. So let's get old Bishop in here. What's up, big dog? Your mic's muted. Let me see. I can't unmute you. You got to unmute.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, man. Well, I think first off, all credit to Carson Beck, man. The guy really hung in there, and man,
5
he's been
touchdowns
huge the last few weeks. Like he that scramble he had on 3rd down near the goal line was incredible. And I feel for the guy. I could see his frustration. These guys just can't catch the ball. The receivers are bad. But I was surprised. I thought that it was by far Kirby's worst game day performance maybe that I can ever recall. Of course, the 2-point conversion in regulation, which makes no sense, especially considering the fact that, it's not like we got a bunch of great 2-point plays in the bag. All those 2-point conversions, he didn't have one trick play, not one. I'm screaming the whole time, like, just run Philly special. Philly special always works. Every time you see somebody run Philly special, it works,
Right.
All those plays, it's just, we were just running standard plays. Like, we didn't have one trick play. And I'm not going to sit here and hate on Bobo, but honestly, man, Bobo screwed that game up too. That first half when we got down there, we had 3rd and short and ran 2 bad plays there, like a stretch play on 4th down, where it's just really tough for our offensive linemen to hold those blocks when they're trying to block on a wide run on 4th and 1. If you know you're going to go for it on 4th down, why don't you try a play action shot right there? That was a touchdown drive we had going, and to come away with no points, that was really bad on Bobo. But to be an offensive coordinator, and you got all off season, to get a couple trick plays in your bag for this type of situation. And I said it during the game to my friends. I said, man, now that we missed that 2-point conversion, just watch. With our luck, we'll get into a 3 overtime game where this whole thing is going to come down to Bobo 2-point conversions. And the guy just he didn't have one play in his bag. I couldn't believe it. He didn't have one go-to trick play. Even Tech there at the end, they tried a trick play, which they got the pass interference on. Remember when they split everybody out wide? But we were really fortunate tonight. The referees, we don't have any room to complain about refereeing the rest of the way, guys. When number 10 on our defense slammed the quarterback's head down like that on the turf, whoa. If that was us getting our head slammed down like that, we'd be up in arms, bro. But yeah, we got no room to complain. I thought the referee was very generous to us all night. And
what was there was a call too. What was it? They reversed it, and they should have. They tried to throw that
roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer on Michael.
Roughing the passer.
I didn't see that, so that was a good pickup. But you can definitely see where I got some Tech friends that texted me and said, "Hey, is this an SEC crew?" Right? Because there were some calls you're like, "Oh man, okay, all right." But to Will Simpson's point in the chat, he says the refs pretty much let everything go. They did for the most part. They did not insert themselves into the game, which I think that was big, right? I think that was kind of let these two teams play and ended up being one of those games that you'll remember for the rest of your life, and the refs didn't have a true. Now I say that the pass interference on Smile Monday, I don't know if I saw it.
No, it was iffy.
It was iffy.
The pass interference that we got on when Lovett got interfered with down on the goal line on the touchdown drive.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how that rule works, but it seemed like he stepped out of bounds, came back in, and then got interfered with.
So, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if he's pushed out by the defender, he can get back in.
Yeah, if he's pushed out, he can come back in.
If he goes out on his own accord by himself, then he's no longer eligible. But he was pushed out. Right.
I thought the fourth down when Georgia was at the, I guess it was maybe the 4 or 5, and Delp was interfered or got the pass interference. I thought that was kind of a either or there too. That went Georgia's way.
That's right.
Yeah, and that was huge. Georgia scores a touchdown.
That was dodgy. Like that one was, they called interference on that, but then they didn't call interference on Malachi Starks when he kind of came over the back on that big third down stop. So that was kind of a very similar play to me. The other big gaffe that I meant to mention by the coaching staff is not calling timeout to review that possible fumble that Georgia Tech had. I mean, it looked like he bobbled it, but it looked like he caught it, took 2 steps.
The receiver,
Yeah, and even the announcers were saying like, "Whoa!" And Jesse Palmer was like, "Yeah, when you slow that down." And like, we know how this goes, guys. Like when they go to that replay and they start looking at it frame by frame, everything looks like possession. And we had a timeout there. Like I thought we should have called timeout there.
When was that though? Was that second half?
That was second half.
Yeah, it was down the stretch. I think
that was second half, and there was still enough time on the clock. There was still like 40 seconds, I think, on the clock where we could have gotten the ball there with a significant amount of time to get in field goal range and win.
I was thinking, Michael. The only thing I could think of was maybe Kirby was trying to save those timeouts. That feels like so long ago, right? But you're right. That was a good time to call the timeout right there, and he didn't do it.
He had 2 timeouts, and then he wound up not even needing that timeout. Like I remember he called it, and he wound up not needing the timeout. I think he called the timeout to set up the Hail Mary play.
We got a lot of folks saying it was a fumble. Surprised Kirby didn't challenge that. Definitely could have been a fumble. And like you said, when you start slowing that thing down, here's what I was afraid of, and I was very afraid of this. When Dan Jackson knocked that ball out from Haynes King, and then it went to the 2-minute timeout, I was like, yo, is this Target? Are they looking at Target? Because right before they went to the commercial, Brent Key's over there talking to the guy, and I hear Coach Don, and he's like, I think he's trying to ask for the first down. And I put in our group chat, I was like, I think he's asking for targeting. But Roddy and Dane didn't read it, unfortunately. They would have brought it up. But I was like, dude, we're going to come back from this commercial break, and Georgia Tech's going to have the ball. So I'm texting folks there in the stadium. I'm like, yo, are they reviewing targeting? They're like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. And then they come out and say, confirm Georgia has the ball. And I was like, dear God, because that Key wanted that thing challenged big time. For sure.
The other play we got lucky on was Frazier's fumble. Like there just wasn't a good angle to show, but that ball was out. You could just feel that it was out. You could see Frazier's reaction. He knew that he fumbled. He had his hands on his head and he was dismayed. Like you could tell that was a fumble, but there just wasn't a good camera angle to overturn it, But
I thought they had a good one. Like I felt like I was the only one that saw that ball was clearly out before his back hit the ground. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be quiet.
I thought everybody saw it.
Yeah, I thought they had a pretty good angle right there on that one. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
hopefully we can get a good draw. I mean, I think. Whatever draw we get in the playoff, like this team could lose to anybody. We could lose to Boise State, man. I mean, any game we play, and I hope we get a good draw, but I'm not going to feel too relieved if I see that we're playing. If we get that good draw, I mean, hopefully we get the bye, and that would be nice. But I don't know, man. It's a shaky game, but. I didn't catch Kirby's press conference, but I mean, he definitely bears a lot of responsibility for that. I mean, what is the thinking there? Like you're up 17-0. So if you make it, if you're going for 2 with the thought that, okay, if they score again, then we need 3 8s to tie. Like, are you really that confident that Bobo is going to hit 3 2-point PATs? I mean, come on, we went 0 for the first 5 or 6, right? But knowing that Bobo doesn't even have a Philly special type trick play in his bag. Like we're just going to get up there and run a normal play. I don't know, man. That's kind of sketchy thinking to think you're going to go 3 for 3 on PATs and tie it up at 24. I don't know, man. That's really unorthodox, but it worked out tonight, man. Carson Beck, like I said, tip my cap to him, man. Carson Beck's had the heart of a champion tonight. Guy doesn't get enough credit for standing there. It's his receivers can't catch the damn ball. He's running all over the place, getting hit. The offensive line can't protect on a 3-man rush on a Hail Mary. The guy's got it rough, man. But
hey, Michael, did you notice though when they didn't catch passes, he didn't start pressing though, which he's done in the past. When he feels like he has to force things to happen, he starts throwing interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, if he could have absolutely been a situation where he feels like he has to make things happen, which he did in the middle of the season, but he did not start pressing, and he kept his head about him. And Georgia was, and again, they dropped passes all night, even into the PATs. I mean,
right off the
Arian
first
Smith
drive
should have won you the damn game.
Absolutely. And no, I absolutely, Roddy. And I've been, sticking up for Beck for a long time, man. That's how I made my first appearance on this show after the Florida game, and I was the palate cleanser. Remember, that came on at the end of the night and said, "Listen, guys, this guy, he's got every throw in the bag, and he just doesn't have any help, and he's pressing too hard. But he gives us a chance every week." And sometimes his demeanor is a little off-putting, but I tip my cap to him. And I did see one time tonight when he threw a comeback ball that Lovett should have caught. He came off the sideline and he was super frustrated, and Ratledge was trying to cheer him up, and it looked like he was going super negative at that point. He was just fed up. I could feel it. And Ratledge was trying to talk him out of it. But, Beck hung in there. That scramble on third down at the goal line at the end of regulation to get us in shape for a touchdown. Heart of a champion, Beck. I really, I think he's gotten a raw deal this year from most people. I'm happy to see him. Happy to see him pull that out tonight and tip my cap to him. But you never should have been in that situation. I mean, bad decisions by the coaches tonight. I think Kirby's worst game. And one thing about this team, they've shown that.
No, Ole Miss was their worst game. They got outcoached by far against Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, what we've seen this year is that this team, Kirby doesn't have the ability to get these guys up. Unless their backs are up against the wall and they're in a must-win game, he can't get them up for UMass. He can't get them up, and that may not be on Kirby. It just may be the composition of this team, but. I knew all week this was going to be a scary game just because it wasn't a backs up against the wall situation. A short week, a Friday night. Tech's always a pain in our ass, and the UMass game was just so bad that and our defense, listen, I mean, people gave our defense a lot of credit in the UMass game because we held them to field goals. I didn't think that was a good defensive performance. I thought that was more about UMass not making, or about Ole Miss not making the plays in the red zone that they needed in that game. I thought our defense against Ole Miss was really concerning, just because they weren't able to punch it in. They were held to field goals. I mean, geez, look at Ole Miss now. I mean.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. Anything could happen. We could beat anybody. We could lose to anybody. But thank goodness we didn't lose to Georgia Tech, guys. That would have been humiliating. So
there you go, Mike. We appreciate you, brother. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Cheers. Go Dogs.
Hey, Roddy, get rid of your share screen. I'll share all the ads. I think that might be what's causing your issue. I think your computer's trying to do too much here. Let's see if it'll regenerate. So, Jason, you got to get up out of here, my friend.
I do. Dash got his news and notes in, so it's time to get started on that.
Much love, my brother. Be good.
Right.
We'll see you next week. All right. The Rogue Shop, baby. Talk to us, Roddy. Oh, you got the Advent calendar.
Baby. I got the Advent calendar.
Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. You're better at this than me. I'll find it while you're talking about it.
So our buddies at the at the Rogue Shop sent me 2 of their Advent calendars. We're going to give these away. That is 25. No, I'm going to do a giveaway for the SEC championship game.
Okay.
So 25 different gummies. Let's see what they got in the back here. Delta 8, THC, black lemonades. 125 milligram Delta 8 THC, sour green apple, sour pomegranate, slap your mama peach, 278 Delta 8 THC. Yeah, that'll kill you. With any of those, be sure that when you get one, that you open it up and you cut it into 4 pieces and you take a quarter of it and then wait 2 hours to see what happens. Do not pop a hole in your mouth, especially if you've never done it before. So if you have chronic pain, if you have chronic insomnia, like my friend Cheryl, who takes these to help her sleep, and she's like, "It's the only thing that's ever worked." Go ahead and you can do. They have sample packs, but they have the Advent calendars. It's 1 per day for 25 days, just like the way an Advent calendar works. It's a great way to try it out. So if you need sleep, something to help you sleep, something to help you with chronic pain, stress and anxiety, go ahead and grab your order from the Rogue Shop. use promo code Bulldogs10 to get 10% off. So there's nothing like it. It's, Richard and Charmaine, there's two people that run the whole thing. When you go to their page, you can actually chat with Charmaine. She's the co-owner. She's there all the time. So you can say, hey, what about this? Or if you have any questions, hit them up. They'll walk you through it. And I'm really hoping that Texas wins next week because Richard's a Texas guy. He's in Oregon, but he's a Texas guy. He loves Georgia. He talks to me about Georgia all the time. He'll text me in the middle of the game, what the hell's going on? This guy loves Georgia, but Texas is his first one. And if we can get a head-to-head with Texas again, I'd love to lord it over him. So let's pull the Longhorns through so Georgia plays them in the championship and then the championship game next week. And we get to make fun of Richard when they lose again.
Hey, you need to shout out to the Rogue Shop. They're awesome. We need to make a bet with Richard. If the Dogs beat Texas, he's got to send our boy Jermaine King an advent calendar. If Texas beats Georgia, I'll pay for an advent calendar to get sent to Jermaine. Relay that to the Rogue Shop. I got Jermaine. One way or another, I'm going to send you one, Jermaine. But the Dogs are going to get you one for free. Dane Young.
Jermaine, you're in town. I'll give Jermaine my bottle here of the Delta 8 THC, the 60 milligram ones.
There you go,
Jermaine. They'll take care of his ass.
Yeah, there you go. Gotcha. Dane Young, sitting on the couch. How was your night?
What a night, guys.
He called it at halftime. He said Georgia's going to win.
Paul, you'd have loved this.
He didn't believe that bullshit.
Roddy's hand ring, and it's like, Georgia's going to win this game. Now, I didn't believe it in the fourth quarter, but I did at halftime.
You said that?
I did.
In front of Coach Donovan?
I'm here.
Uh-huh. I have texts to multiple people to show that I did say that.
There was literally nothing in my body at halftime that I was like, this team can win this game. There wasn't anything there. I don't know what you saw, or you were just being like the devil's advocate that Dane Young normally is, right?
It was. Is that what I do? Is that my shtick?
You don't have to ask me, Dane. The chat will back me up on that.
Are you calling a spade or something here?
No.
I took some notes on the game if you'd like them, Paul.
Oh God. All right, Gary. What you got?
No. I don't have 4 hours.
What I learned tonight from Dane Young, part 2.
I have 9 sentences, not 45 minutes.
All right, what you got?
Haynes King is the bizarro Reggie Ball. That dude deserved to win. Didn't get it.
But the bizarre, I think,
look, he's the opposite of Reggie Ball for them, man. The dude's a baller.
I'll tell you right now. I think that Haynes King kid has the heart of a freaking lion, dude.
I agree.
To come in and play after they were like, "Hey, this kid's arm it's holding on by 2 strings, and it's from his shirt. That's what's holding his arm and his onto his body is his shirt." And he comes in here and does what he did. There was plenty of times where he wanted to check out. You could see him walking back to the huddle. He was like, "Look, man,
second quarter too. That's one reason I thought Georgia's in good shape because he's wearing down. He can't keep doing this, and he did. He kept doing it.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to him. So bizarre Reggie Ball.
Okay, fine. All right, it'll get better. Okay. Why the hell did Kirby Smart go for 2 in the third quarter?
Look,
all this was preventable. All of it.
First quarter.
No, he went third.
No, Georgia didn't score in the first half.
Yeah,
it's his third quarter.
I know it feels like the first quarter, Roddy, because we had 8 overtimes. But yes,
I thought I heard you say first, and I'm like,
no, third.
Okay.
Roger Robinson getting that much run is like if you handed me a deck of Magic the Gathering cards. It's been a while, but I'll do my best.
You played Magic the Gathering?
As a kid, yeah, I did.
That explains so much. It explains so much.
I wasn't in tournaments or anything, but I played. Georgia gave up 563 yards and won. So bleep Dave Ramsey, go put that cruise on your credit card.
Roddy, this is getting out of hand, Roddy. I don't know what's worse, these comments from Dane or your internet tonight. I'm really trying to carry this show right now. I'm trying my best. Dane, go ahead.
I do have my ASW.
Oh, I can tell you got it, brother. I can tell. What's 0.5?
How's Dan Jackson not on scholarship?
Because he's getting paid like probably $100,000 to not be on scholarship. His dad is
I don't care what his dad is.
Like, yeah, he's got money. He's good.
Cash Jones is old school. He's everywhere and universally accepted.
Is old school. He's everywhere. Is that like an old school movie reference?
No.
That's an American Express card, dude.
And cash is no longer universally accepted. And it's not everywhere. Not everyone uses cash.
Run that back.
Oh, no, sorry. That's an old MasterCard commercial.
Cash Jones is old school. He's everywhere and universally accepted. Cash isn't anymore.
Okay.
It's a credit world, right?
Okay.
Kirby Smart, no, maybe Mary Beth, but other than that, loves nothing more than a defensive timeout in overtime. Because I'm telling you, anytime that camera went over there, he had the hands in the pocket, he had the shoulders back, and he was like strutting into there. Like, Mike Bobo, Carson Beck, you stay the hell away from my timeout. That is mine. Nobody else gets to think about it. 8 overtimes, 8 defensive timeouts.
And guess what? He made Buster Faulkner go through 16 plays instead of 8 because they came out in a different formation after every one of those timeouts. So brilliant by him. But yes, okay.
One of my best friends on this earth, Logan Booker, claims that you cannot celebrate Christmas in Georgia unless Georgia beats Georgia Tech. So Dan Jackson literally saved Christmas.
I mean, had they lost tonight, I'm still opening presents on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
Logan Booker does.
I'm still celebrating.
Not the Booker household. The Christmas tree does not go up unless Georgia Tech has been beaten the month before.
Wow.
Well, that's
okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Does he have children?
No.
Yeah, he doesn't have kids.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And then you just don't go into Athens and beat Georgia on a Saturday, and Georgia will just stall out like hell until it's Saturday.
It really felt like they were playing. Hey, we're going to keep going back and forth until we can get to Saturday, and then we'll put it away. So
it very much reminded me of what was it, the Peach Bowl when
the Ohio State game when you win it on at 12 o'clock, 12:01. Absolutely,
yeah,
I was going to say the same thing.
I started looking at the clock and I was like, it's 11:44. They're in the 6th overtime. I'm like, yeah, they have a chance to win this on Saturday, and sure enough, they did. That Kirby being so calm and collected. Go back to that comment, Frederick Lawrence, calm and collected. He was beautiful. It almost to me was.
It was after he got yelled at and he got a sideline warning.
Yeah, but it was like he was very stoic, like he had just committed a really bad crime, but he was like, "Look, I didn't do it. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna
nothing going on over here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna blend in. I'll put my hands in my pocket. I'm just kind of chilling over here. Like, nothing's going on. I think this game, for what it's worth, showed Georgia's resiliency, but at the same time, the average fan checked out of this game before it went 44-42. So they've walked away with a bad taste in their mouth. And by average fan, I mean the playoff committee, because they definitely did not stay up for the entirety of this game. So
I disagree with that.
But it don't matter. It don't matter because all they care about are wins and losses.
That's very true. That's very, very true. And had they lost this game, there was no way into the playoff. And
no, that's totally wrong, Paul. If they would have lost this game and win next week, get you a top 4 seed.
Look, listen, Linda. Not necessarily. It's the top 4 conferences.
You think they would put Boise State over an SEC champion?
They already have Texas A&M at 15.
You think they would put Boise State over the SEC champion?
I'm just saying it's not as clear as them getting in had they won next week and they lost to Tech tonight. Yes, I think they would have gotten in, but it's not just this automatic instant, yes, they could have got in. It's not the Power 4 conferences. It's Group of 5 too. That's all I'm saying. So they're very lucky they won tonight.
The SEC champion will never not make the playoff. Like that's such a That I don't even consider that a plausible scenario.
AP says, Paul, have you lost your mind? Yes, I have. It's what?
Well, he's
It's
not
2
saying they
a.m. We
wouldn't
might
make the
have
playoff if you're the SEC champion wouldn't make the playoff. He's just saying the SEC champion might not make one of those 4 spots.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they wouldn't make it. I'm saying
it's possible. But I mean,
that may be a better spot.
A&M would jump up, and Texas would fall down, and it could be weird. But hey, you won tonight, even though, I mean, you shouldn't have.
No.
But I mean, it's tough to say that, but I mean, you did everything possible to lose it. But I'll give Johnny Ballgame came on there and said, "This is a resilient team." Kirby Smart after the game was talking to DJ Shockley, and DJ just kind of bows it to him, "What do you think, Coach?" And he said, "Look, this team is resilient. I've said it before." And remember, he said that after that 16-13 win at Kentucky. It was game 2, 3, whatever it was of the season. He said, "I learned more about my football team after this game than I have all through camp. We are a resilient football club." He said the same thing after they almost when they came back against Alabama. So, of course, that was his thing today. He said, "These guys never quit. Carson Beck never quit." Carson looked like he was going to a couple of times there. He said, "My coaches didn't quit." And I'll give credit to the coaches. They got out-coached for 55 minutes. Or 54 minutes. But then when push came to shove, they dialed up some plays and they dialed up some execution, and they pulled it out. So ugly. Somebody said earlier this team could lose to anybody. Yeah, the guy you just had on. They can also beat anybody. We don't see that second part very much because they love to get themselves into holes, and they only seem to respond when their backs are against the wall. I predicted after they lost to Ole Miss, they're going to beat Tennessee just because they had to win it. So if they lost tonight, they would roll through the SEC championship.
I think the thing that gets everybody, though, is this is such a different team. This is not a Kirby Smart team. Normally, they will get you down 30-6, and they will run the ball for the third and fourth quarter, and the game's over. This is the exact opposite. They're down.
That's what Texas tried to do tonight.
That's exactly right. They're down 17-0, and then Kirby in his head is going, "Oh shit, I'm only going to get 4 possessions in the second half." So then Kirby, of all people, says, "Oh, I need to go for 2 because my back is against the wall that much where I have to go for 2." Like, you don't see that. You've never seen that with a Kirby Smart coach team. And it's not to say that this team is any worse or better than any of his other teams. I think it's one of his most depleted rosters in terms of you factor in injuries and then also guys getting kicked off the team and nobody being able to catch. There's a lot of things wrong with this team, right? But never in a million years would you say, all right, Kirby is down 17-6 and he's going to go for 2 right here because he doesn't think he's going to get the ball back enough times to make this game count. Like that's never happened.
Well, yeah, we've got 9 years of examples, and this year they've been down, but they never started chasing points that crazily. So, and I give them credit for that drive where they scored in 2 minutes. They drove 75 yards, popped it in. Brilliant drive, great plays on that. I do wonder, though, Paul, how different would this team look if they could catch passes?
No, it's a completely different team. And even if you had Rob and Colby Young, like, it's a completely different team.
I'll say I don't think they'd be that much different.
How different would this team look if they could tackle?
Again, those are 2 fun. But here's the problem though with that, Roddy. We're done with the regular season, and those are the most 2 fundamental things. One is on offense and one is on defense. You have to catch the ball and you have to be able to tackle. And this team cannot do either one of them. And somehow they're still 10-2.
That's my point. And then there are other times where they make amazing catches. They make amazing tackles. CJ Allen comes through, destroys a man. The back picks him up out of the backfield on a blitz like he's supposed to, and he knocks the ever-loving shit out of the guy and gets to the quarterback. They tackle him. They stopped him on the goal. Tech should have won this game 3 or 4 times especially after the pass interference call. They get a pass interference call on a 2-point play. They get down to the 1, and you're like, well, they're going to win it right here. I actually tweeted out, well, that'll do it. Because I expected the Haynes King run up the middle. He tried it. He gets stuck. All of a sudden they get tackled. So my point is, when we say they can win and they can lose, it's still on them. And it frustrates me to no end to know that if you just catch the damn ball like you're supposed to, and you make the tackles that you were supposed to, that you have done repeatedly, you can beat anybody. But then you won't do it against UMass. You won't do it against Georgia Tech. Hell, you didn't do it against Florida. You get these guys in the backfield. You call the right play. Everyone surrounds the quarterback, and he still gets 9 yards on the 3rd and 10. And then they convert the 4th and 1 and go down and score a touchdown on you. It's like, damn it. Get out of your own way, Georgia.
Where does this team go from here, Dane?
Well, I like your point, Paul, about this being so atypical of Kirby Smart coach teams that we've seen, because I look at it and Kirby Smart is very conservative and likes to run the ball. And if you don't pass it a whole lot, that's fine. And he's always going to be hypercritical of a quarterback that has had turnovers. None of that has happened this year. This is a pass-heavy team. It's a pass-first team. Really can't generate a running game all year long, and that's going to be problematic as we go. Carson Beck can do absolutely nothing wrong in the eyes of Kirby Smart. Like, that's such a stark turn from how he's discussed any quarterbacks, even going back to Eason and Fromm, but especially Stetson Bennett. This team, though, we have to. We're prisoners of the moment if we act like this team has not proven and accomplished a lot this year. Clemson, Texas, Tennessee. Like, this team has beaten really good teams soundly. It's also lost to Ole Miss embarrassingly and gotten blown out in a first half by Alabama. Blown out in a first half by Georgia Tech. Now, the difference here, even though it got the lead in Alabama, it lost that game because it gave up one critical play. For as crazy as this night was, Georgia at the end of it did not end up giving up the critical play, in part because I don't know that Georgia Tech was capable of some of that at the end.
Yeah, I don't think they had a very critical play right there at the end to seal it.
And look, you get into overtimes to the extent that this was, man, it just takes some luck and some coin flips, and Georgia could have won it a little earlier. Tech could have won it a little earlier. These teams were even in that game. That's what it tells you. But, like, Tech can be a good team. For Tech to come into Athens and play like that, Tech should, like, they're not going to do moral victories, fine. But they outplayed Georgia, and they earned what would have been a win. But sometimes the best teams don't win games. Ole Miss was beating LSU for 4 quarters, lost it in overtime. And in fact, with that game having to go to 8 overtimes, says a lot about Tech for still fighting that long. Because I thought Georgia's crowd was going to take over and send Tech on out of there with a loss. And that didn't happen immediately. So where does this team go from here? We've already seen it beat Texas one time. That's one possible opponent. The other one is Texas A&M with a mobile quarterback, like another one. That's scary as hell. Good defensive line, that's scary as hell. It's going to be like playing some kind of version of Ole Miss again. So what does Georgia learn from that? I look at the playoff, though. I think Georgia could beat a ton of teams. I'd like Georgia against Penn State.
Sure.
Oregon almost lost at Wisconsin. Struggled with Idaho at the beginning of the year.
Tough. Oregon's tough, but yeah.
There's not, but they're not significantly better than Georgia.
Ohio State and Oregon are the 2 teams you don't want on your side of the bracket. Everybody else, I think Georgia can beat.
I would say Ohio State more than Oregon, but
if you get 2 teams not on your side of the bracket, it would be those 2. The rest of the playoff teams, I feel like they have a really good shot against. It's just those 2. You're going to have to face one of them, I feel like, if you make it all the way. So
I'd be a little spooked by Notre Dame. I think they can do the ground control thing, and Riley Leonard has some Haynes King qualities to him. I don't know that he's quite that kind of warrior, but
they have a good defense too.
Yeah.
But the problem with Notre Dame is everybody just shits on them so much that if you come out and say what you just said, like you're a little spooked by Notre Dame, like, oh, they're always frauds. I get that, but they have a pretty good team this year. Not to say that they're not always frauds too, though. They can come out and steal a game quick.
There's not a dominant team out there. The unit that I would fear the most is Ohio State's wide receivers. And
oh, God.
Yeah, like that against
they would have
Georgia's secondary.
a field day with Georgia's secondary. It would not be fun or pretty at all.
Yeah, they would just need an off day on the quarterback. That's the only thing you could rely on.
Yeah.
But look, Georgia found a way to win, and it's going to the SEC championship. This is one of the weird things of college football. This is a legendary game, and a lot of Georgia fans will remember it for forever. In the grand scheme of things for this season, had Georgia lost to Georgia Tech, but then and gone and won the SEC, it would have been like bad bragging rights. It really wouldn't have mattered a whole lot for the course of the season, other than going to your office and seeing the Georgia Tech fan and having that discussion on a daily basis, which matters. I'm not discounting that, but I'm saying in terms of like championships and things, the win and loss in this game ultimately might not have mattered as much. I mean, now it does in the sense that Georgia has margin for error. It doesn't have to win the SEC championship to get into the tournament. But I like Georgia's chances in the SEC championship too.
Yeah,
especially if Texas wins.
Hard to beat a team twice. I know a lot of people say that.
I was just about to say that. It's really hard to beat a team twice.
It's hard to beat a team with a running quarterback than it is a team with a mobile quarterback. So
real quick before Dane leaves out. We're watching the game tomorrow. Who do you want to win? It sounds
Texas.
like Roddy's Texas, right? You want Texas?
Yep.
I would prefer Texas win. I think Texas A&M will win.
I think realistically, I would prefer A&M to win. I think I would prefer A&M to win. It's tough beating a team twice. That's my biggest thing. And Lord knows, God Almighty knows that something would happen to Quinn in like the first quarter, and Georgia's not prepared for Arch, and then Arch comes in and throws for 300, and then it's a backup quarterback.
Well, no, he'll throw for 300, but also run for 80. That's the problem. It's the running QB. What killed you tonight? How many yards did Haynes wind up with?
110.
He was over 110 yards. And then threw for 300. That's, again, the kid played out of his mind. He was beat all to hell. He's probably black and blue from, scalp to toenails.
Oh, he's on that bus right now, Roddy, and he's literally just, he hasn't moved. He's just in one spot. He's
mostly dead, but
yeah,
I give the kid credit, but you've seen what the kid at Texas A&M can do. Brett, he's a freshman, and he is quick. And what is Georgia's Achilles heel? A running quarterback. Now, the reason I told people this was going to happen before it happened against Texas, Coach Donner came on and said, we're going to kill him. I guarantee you we're going to win this game before the first snap. And he, of course, he knew it long before I did, but I was told by folks in the program, if we can get Quinn Ewers off his mark, we got him. And what did they do? They chased his ass down all night.
They got him benched. They got him benched.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So you know how to beat them. I don't know that you know how to beat Texas A&M, because they're going to watch the film and they're going to see, hey, if we're backed up in our own end zone, all we have to do is throw the inside slant route against number 6, and that always gets every team out of the shadow of their own end zone. Ole Miss did it. Georgia Tech did it. Kentucky did it. Everybody's got it down pat. Nothing you can do about it, apparently. You can never teach them to go inside leverage, What do I know? The point is, give me Texas versus Texas A&M instead of the Aggies, and go at it.
Paul, I'll leave you with one last scenario, and this scenario is presented by ASW Distillery.
Oh yeah, I'm slacking over here. Let me get that
up. You
up.
are slacking.
5 of the 6 founders are UGA grads, so we like to say that they are distilled by dogs. And if you go get the Hunker bourbon or the Hunker vodka, anytime you purchase that, portion of the proceeds goes over to Georgia's Classic City Collective, helping with the NIL efforts. Roddy has that Hunker bourbon right there. That is new this season, and if that has not been a part of your tailgate, whether at home or on campus, then shame on you, because, man, regardless of where that money ends up going, it's just really good bourbon. And I know there's some purists out there that says bourbon only comes from Kentucky. Hell no. Georgia makes some good bourbon too.
They win so many different awards. I mean, they go out to that basically the world. You see all the
look at that.
The medals there, the gold medals. Their fiddlers won so much stuff. Their chin music's won everything. They win ridiculous number of awards. That's why we show it. They're just like They're like, you got 5 Georgia people. They're just like Georgia football. They win, they win, they win. Hell, even their resurgence Rye won. But the reason we're promoting them right now is not only because they've been with us for 3 years. The Hunker vodka, you need to have that instead of Tito's or any of that Grey Goose crap that they have out there. Tito's gave the University of Texas $20 million. Hunker can do likewise. Just going to take them a little while. They're not as big as Tito's, but if you're at a Georgia tailgate and you buy Hunker vodka or Hunker bourbon, proceeds of that go to Georgia's NIL. We are less than a week away from signing day, and Georgia's going to sign 4 or 5 difference makers out of the portal. There's going to be some big names coming in the portal, some guys that you absolutely need. And if you want to put that together, just like you did with Trevor Etienne, you better have a big checkbook ready to go. And I'm not saying all of you guys need to send them $1 million. Just change what you buy. That's it.
I wonder if that 6th founder, 5 of the 6 founders are UGA grads. I need to see where that 6th one went to college. Because if it's Georgia Tech, they're about to have a lot of fun.
It's got to be Tech. It has to be. There's no other.
It's like that 10th dentist. 9 out of 10 dentists recommend blah blah blah. What's that 10th guy saying? So
yeah.
So here, the last scenario that I'll leave you with, Paul, because you're right. It's hard to beat a team twice. Let's say it's Georgia, Texas. You may get this with Oregon, Ohio State. I'd say a decent chance someone's going to have to beat someone a third time. Or in a third matchup.
I don't know if the committee wants that, right? They're going to try their best to not have that happen, but you're right.
At some point, it may not be this year. At some point, that will happen just based on how brackets work out and an upset here or there. And especially if those are some of the best teams in the country and they just rise to the top that way.
Right.
That's not going to be like super foreign.
You're going to see Oregon and Ohio State play again this year.
I mean, you'll see them in the if we assume that Ohio State beats Michigan, then that puts them for the second time. And you're saying for a third time, Roddy?
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. And so are we all cool with that? Because that feels very NFL-y.
The worst or the alternative is only having 4 teams. What if we only have 4 teams right now? Georgia's trying to make it to that 4th spot.
Georgia would be out.
That's my point. So that's why I'm like, hey, are we good with that? A team having to face each other 3 times? Absolutely, if we want to have a 12-team playoff. So the alternative is all of us sitting there going, well, I hope that puts us into a better bowl. We're not going, maybe we can make it to the Sugar Bowl, blah, blah, blah. So, well, right now we'd be talking Sugar Bowl and that's it.
It's all entertainment for me, dude. So I'm cool with all of it. I'm cool with putting fun product in front of me. And look, Georgia Tech didn't have a whole lot to play for tonight other than a rivalry. Couldn't tell it. That was fun as hell. If you weren't a fan of one of those teams, you were addicted to that game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
If you were a fan of one of those 2 teams, you were probably having some health issues.
Yeah.
I was having some health issues.
Yeah, that was
because shitting a brick is really hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Well, that's called the plumbers over to Donovan's house.
Yeah.
Can take care of that.
Oh.
All right, fellas. I'm out of here.
All right, Dan, you're gonna leave me with Wi-Fi-less Roddy, huh?
You know what's crazy, Paul? Because I've been saying the same thing. Like, Roddy, your Wi-Fi. But on Tuesday, the other day, I was down in Dublin, so I was worried about my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi ended up being fine. Roddy's was perfect that day. Pristine.
Same exact setup.
I don't know what it is. I'm telling you, Dane. I don't know how long we're about to keep rolling for, but it's tough. It's tough over here.
Well, because you can't tell when he starts and stops, right?
Right. Yeah, I can't tell, and I don't want to overrun him, so it's tough. But we'll do what we got to do.
Maybe he'll pour some of the little Hunker vodka or give a gummy from Rogue to the router, and maybe that'll fix it.
Right.
That's what I would try.
It needs something. All right, Dane, we appreciate you, my friend.
See you guys.
Oh, I thought I was getting rid of you. I got rid of the comment. That's on me.
I'm going back to this. I'm here. I'm just I also stutter a lot, so that doesn't really help you.
No, your stutter. I've gotten way better use of that than this internet. It's this is tough. This is really tough. But no, real quick, 44-42, Georgia. If you missed it, you're under a rock and you somehow stumbled upon this YouTube channel at 2 o'clock in the morning. Georgia did win 44-42, despite the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets' best effort. That game next year, I think, is in the isn't it in Mercedes-Benz? I think
Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Yeah. Had it not been in Athens, I don't know if Georgia wins this game. Crowd really helped affect it.
Had at least 3 illegal procedures.
Yeah.
Or false starts, I should say.
They had the one in the overtime, right, where they went back from 1st and 15. You were like, all right, here it is. That's what they scored. And they go and drop a 14-yard touchdown or a tight end leak, from the right side, and they worked out. Georgia, 405 yards of offense to Georgia Tech's 563. I'm really curious, Dave McMahon's stat crunch, when the last time Georgia gave up 563 yards of offense was. I feel like it's been some time on that. Not a ton of penalties. 5 against Georgia Tech for 29 yards, 3 against Georgia for 26 yards. So not a ton of penalties in this game here. 4th downs, Georgia Tech was 1 for 3, Georgia 1 for 2. Ton of plays in this game, though. Georgia Tech had 84 plays and Georgia Tech had 69. So just a bunch of action throughout this game. Biggest thing for Georgia, somehow they won this game and Georgia Tech had 37 minutes of possession. Just absolutely crazy. They only had the ball for 22 minutes.
Just it blew my mind that 10-minute drive they had.
God.
To kick the field goal to go up 26. And I'm like, this is why Kirby was chasing points, because he's like, we can't get off the field. And at halftime, they asked him, Kirby, what do you need to do? He's like, we need to get off the field. We need to tackle this kid. We need to convert 3rd and 1. We need to convert 4th and 1. We need to not fumble the ball. And, Dan Jackson's got to be the hero of the game, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he played absolutely amazing. It says KJ Bolden had 5 tackles. I feel like I didn't see him in there hardly at all. I saw a lot of Ja'Cory Thomas, who only had 1 tackle, but 5 for KJ. I actually almost texted the group chat and said, hey, is KJ all right? I didn't see him in there a lot, but he had 5 tackles.
Who asked about a certain running back in the group chat?
I'd have to go back and look.
I said, is Nate Frazier hurt?
Yeah, So, hey, shout out JT, $10 Roddy Internet Fund. Appreciate it. I wish it could instantly go to Roddy's Internet Fund so we could continue with the show.
I paid for the highest thing Comcast has. I don't.
Shit. You need to.
I'm gonna call them out and say, look, you motherfucker, y'all need to come out here.
Right. Yeah. Look how much I'm paying for. Just send them a clip of the show and be like, look, I can't do this. I'm trying to do it. Whoa, man, I lost my train of thought. Yeah. No. So I wish next time it happens, because Coach does not like the running back rotations, right? He's not a fan of it. Can you ask him, and you might know the answer to this, is it a running back coach that says who goes in and out? Is it the offensive coordinator who says who goes in and out?
I asked this in years past because every time somebody got healthy or had a good run, they'd pull it. Kenny McIntosh, 10-yard gain, 12-yard gain, 15-yard gain, pull it. Or, 13-yard pickup, pull it. I'm like, why? Why? And I asked specifically, who does that? They go, Del McGee. He rotates those guys. So Josh Crawford's in there this time, and I get you want to move your guys around, but I'm like, you got Chauncey Bowens is out, but you got Nate Phillips. Yeah, hell, just go with Cash Jones. Cash was money. Cash won you the game too. And I'm like, why do you keep going to right? Why are you trying to make fetch happen? I get you want to get him some plays, but now ain't the damn time.
Right.
It's like, well, hey, welcome back. You got on the field. Congratulations. And I put it in my column. I don't know if anybody knew the kid was going to play, because Kirby says, well, he's got some snaps with the number 2s. My intel from inside the program said this guy's not only got snaps with the number 2s, he's also run with the number 1. He was in on the first drive. Nobody knew he was going to play that. And so we gave you that in the 3-2-1 column. And I'm like, okay, this will be, and I wanted him to play so bad to be in front of the hometown crowd. But after his first couple runs 3 and 4 were just terrible. I'm like, oh no, he does not have it. So who the fuck decides to put him back in the game when the game is on the line and you're trying to run 2-point conversions? Unless Nate Frazier is dead, you put him in the game. Nate's not tired. Scott Howard was talking about how after the game, the locker room is on the west end zone. The interviews are on the east end zone. And a lot of times those guys who get requested for interviews will get onto a golf cart and they drive them to the other side. After that 8 overtime game, Jalen Walker comes out of the locker room, sprints 100 yards to go do interviews. Just ridiculous energy. The defense was out there for 84 snaps, like you said?
Yeah.
Just mind-boggling. The guy still got it. Unless Nate Frazier had to go on a gurney and be taken to the other end, play him, because they knew you weren't going to run it on all those 2-point conversions. They're dropping 8, 9 guys. Not quite 9, but you know what I'm saying. They're just everybody dropped back because like, okay, we're going to guard all the passes. And to that point, that's why they tried a quarterback sneak. They're like, look, they're only going to rush 3 or 4. We just got to make one block, and we got it. And they missed it. So I give them credit. Everyone's like, why the hell would you try a quarterback sneak there from that? Because of the defense. You take what they give you. And just mind-boggling that you kept trying to make Rod. And again, nobody was happier to see Rod Robinson out there than me. I predicted it. I wanted to be in front of the hometown crowd. But damn, man, it drove me crazy. So I've asked this in the past. But you know why I started asking? Who was James Cook's biggest cheerleader?
You.
And every time James Cook would have a big play, they'd pull it.
Yeah.
Drove me sideways. And nothing against Zamir White or whoever the hell they put in there, but I'm like, just give him more than 2 plays back to back. See what he can do. And how do you get into a rhythm? They never pull the right tackle or left tackle or quarterback or whatever, It's like, Jesus.
Arian Smith, 2 receptions. He was targeted 9 times.
How many drops?
On the official stat book here, it has 2. I think he had 3.
I know 2 for certain, but I think there's a third in there.
Yeah. 2 receptions on 9 targets. Ugh.
Well, remember, sometimes if you're throwing the ball away and there's a receiver in the area, they credit that as a target, but no.
Okay. I'll even take
that was a bad game.
Away. I'll even take 2 of them away for that. 2 of 7 if you want to be generous. Yeah. That's still that's tough.
And Oscar, again, game winner. Hit him in the hands.
Hit him, yeah. And
you could have been the hero. You could have been the guy. Now it's Nate Frazier's the hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took us 8 tries to remember to put him in, but
Yeah. Yeah. That was a tough game to watch. And there's a lot that, kind of to break down on this. Film don't lie, I'm sure we'll have a ton, but it's one of those where you look at it, you go, damn, they somehow won the game though. And this would have been heartbreaking to have lost this game. Now, it wouldn't have been so much heartbreaking at the beginning, right? Like, you're just getting your ass kicked, right? Like, if they continued what they did in the second half, dude, you got your ass kicked. There's severe problems, with your team. But if you lost like after 8 overtimes and you've had
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah. No, it would be. But the fact that you fought back, this would feel like the Alabama game. Yeah. Losing Alabama is god awful, especially the number of times you lost to them. And Tech is them too would suck. But the fact that at least you would be able to say, hey, we lost to them in an 8 overtime game. Now, for Tech, that's why Brent Key's crying. That's why his players are crying. It is a gut punch of all gut punches to have your nemesis on the ropes. Just like Georgia, when you finally got back ahead of Alabama the last minute there, and then Ryan Williams happens. You're like, that you felt how big a gut punch that was. That's what happened to them. But at least in this particular case, you'd be able to say, we were down 20-6 with only 6 minutes left in the game, and we came back and went 7-8 overtimes. You at least always have that caveat. I'm with you there. When it's gone back and forth that much, it would be awful to lose it. And, and I do feel bad for some of the Tech kids, that played their absolute guts out. Like the running back was beat all to hell. The quarterback was beat all to hell. And you kind of hate it for them. But at least you'd have been able to say, okay, yeah, you won, but it took you 7 freaking overtimes.
Yeah.
And I guess my point is you'd have at least, I don't even say a built-in excuse, but you'd have a little bit of a moral victory there, even though you lost. Whereas if you just gotten your ticket punched, and you lose 34-12, which is the pace that you were on, you're like, oh yeah, you just got hammered. It would have been like that 2017 Auburn loss, where you just
it would have felt like Ole Miss. It would have felt like Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And I think but here's the thing. Which one hurt more? I think the Bama lost one did.
Well, yes, because it was freaking Bama.
What?
It's the same. I see. Yeah. If you take Bama out the equation, but I'm just saying in general, the two games, the one that hurt more was Bama because you got back in it. You were so close, and then Ryan Williams goes and does that. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't bad. To me, it was the Bama. Because to me, you almost had a moral victory there. You're like, hey, we came back and got them. But if your girlfriend cheats on you with the guy that you've been suspecting, and you're like, okay, well, that sucks. Your girlfriend cheats on you with your brother or your best friend, you're like, mother, you should know, but it's worse. Again, both of them are bad, but there's levels to this.
What an analogy. I'm going to pull up Benton and Benton Law here for us real quick. I did not get to shout them out earlier because it was a little crazy. So, look, Benton and Benton Attorneys of Law, been around for a little while now. Mr. Eugene Benton has been around forever, was a big-time judge in Walton County. He started his own practice with his son, who you see right there, Bart Benton. It's real easy, guys. If you're injured, be smart, call Bart. Over $55 million recovered in 2024. I told Bart he's handling a hit-and-run case that I was involved in down in Florida before we got on our cruise. I said, look, we're going to have to change that number to $56 million, baby, once ours goes through. So, yeah. So he said we're going to work on it. We're going to try our best. But no, Bart is Bart's an amazing guy, really good guy, down-to-earth guy, but he's extremely, extremely intelligent. He loves the dogs. He also loves the College of Charleston. He played basketball up there, Roddy. He was good. He played ball at College of Charleston.
You have to be good. I ran into the College of Charleston Center this past March. The dude came into my wife was at a conference there. The guy walks in, and when you see somebody that's 7'2" or something like that, you're like, oh crap. Great school, and you can't get it. My son was actually asking me about it because he has some buddies that go to the Citadel and College of Charleston. And he's like, what's College of Charleston like? I'm like, it's good. He goes, what's it like? I'm like, well, you have to be smart as hell to get in there. But I used a different word.
Yeah.
So, right, dude.
No, he's very smart. And like I said, played basketball for College of Charleston. He's only 6 foot, was a point guard, was killer on the court. And
badass.
Yeah, he's badass. And now he's handling all your needs for your personal injury all over the state of Georgia. He's handling our case in Florida. So if you're anywhere, that number right there, 866-927-4290, or you can just email him right there, bart@bentonandbentonlaw.com. Schedule a free consultation. I promise you, he won't let you down. And the best thing about it all with Benton and Benton is they're actually genuinely good people. Some of these law firms out there, it's, they just want your money. Benton and Benton want to take care of you, and they do a great job with that. So really glad they're a sponsor of our show, because I can tell you from personal experience dealing with Bart, they're just amazing folks over there. If you're injured, remember, be smart, call Bart. There we go. Your internet's starting to come back to life a little bit. I don't know if but you're not talking, so it's tough. Damn, it's like a 4-second delay. I heard you laugh, and then I saw you laugh. This is tough. You want to give us some help?
What if I turn off the camera? Just go audio.
So I'm just sitting here by myself? talking.
Well, no, you'd be able to hear me, but you wouldn't watch me.
Oh God. Beyond Creative says, will they help with a cheating girlfriend? I don't know if they do that, Beyond. Roddy can help with that though. So just hit up Roddy. He'll help you with that. Oh boy, this is tough. This is tough. Full screen at 2:25 in the morning, guys. I'm by myself. Roddy, are you there? Oh God. Are you here, Roddy? Oh God.
I'm still here, dude.
Okay, thank God. All right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this real quick. Hold on. So I'm not full screen. I'm gonna pull up the stats. Let me do this. Boom, boom. Whoa, no, not that. What the hell? There we go.
Hold on.
All right.
Does that work better?
Yeah, that works better. Yeah. Let's dive into these stats because we haven't really done that yet. Totally.
Well, you do that. I'm gonna look over some of the. I want to see what Kirby Smart said after the game.
Yeah. So look up some of his comments, and we can say them in here. Carson Beck, 28 of 43, had 5 touchdowns. That's crazy.
Is that counting 2-point conversions?
No, because that's what I first initially thought. Right, was like, are they have to be counting 2-point conversions? But no, he had 5 touchdowns. He had 1 to Delp. He had 1 to Lovett, another to Lovett, and then the 2 touchdowns in the overtime do count as touchdowns because that's
okay. That's what threw me off because I was thinking he did not have 5 touchdowns in the game. So, but then
right, he had 2 in overtime, but I don't know what they count technically the 2-point conversions as. It's not here on the stat book. I don't know what they call those. Stick D says, Paul, if Georgia wins the SEC championship game, what seed do you predict we will be, and who will we be likely to face after the bye? I would say you're probably the 2nd seed. Winner of Oregon, Ohio State, I would assume is going to be the 1st. You would be the 2nd seed. And then who would you likely face after the bye? It all depends on how that bracket works out. It really all depends on how the bracket works out. I could see a team like Boise State going. So I could see it to where Georgia's lined up with, let's say, Penn State and Boise State as the 2 teams to face them. And I could see Boise State beating Penn State. So I could see like a Boise State. I could see a low seed coming into that bowl game against Georgia, which I think could work out for them. But that Genty kid is a absolute freak. Let's go look at the away stats here for Georgia Tech real quick. 303 yards. We've already mentioned that for Haynes King. That Singleton kid's pretty good. 8 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown. They had that Hawes kid, that tight end for them. He's a freak. He's huge. Didn't have anybody really stand out in tackles that I can remember for Tech. But for Georgia, if you go look at Georgia, 13 tackles.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, 13 tackles for Smile Munden, 10 for CJ. I can't remember the last time Georgia had 4 guys in double-digit tackles.
Well, you give up 84 damn plays, you're going to have that.
True.
Fucking ridiculous. CJ Allen, though, again, to me, the stop on the goal line that he had was, that's a game winner. But also just the fact that he to get them there, to get them into the to stop a drive, he ran over the running back and just plowed him under. And that kid, I don't think that kid was ever the same after that. Dalen Everett, again, with 10 tackles. That's just mind-boggling. And Malachi Starks, was up and down. He got burned and was out of position multiple times. But he also saved you a couple times. Again,
what about that play where he and Harris ran into each other?
Yeah, that was a little motion there, and they knock each other out, and
that was tough,
insane.
CJ Allen, for what it's worth, I'm not saying I've been calling for him to see less playing time, but he hasn't lived up to what I thought he would be in his 2nd year after such a great freshman performance. He has bounced back tremendously. And there was a play tonight where Georgia Tech went 5 wide, motioned the running back down to the far side, and Haynes King saw that C.J. Allen was on him. Now, should C.J. Allen have been on him? Probably not, but that's not what
you don't have a choice when they go 5 wide like that.
Right. So you have to go with it. And they immediately went after him, and CJ played that great and kept it to where they did not have a chance to tackle him. So
they also got him too. So what they were doing, and let's give a little analysis real quick to the effectiveness of Buster Faulkner. Every time Georgia blitzed, which they did a lot to try to light him up, they went right where the gap was. They went right into that empty spot repeatedly and just gashed Georgia over and over again. Go back to the Georgia Tech receiving and look at the long plays they had.
33, 18, 16, 24, 30, 25. Let's see big plays. Damn. So gains of over 15 yards is considered a big play. They had 9 of them. A 24-yard pass, 25, 18, 16, 15, 16, 30, 33, and 17. For a guy, Roddy, who
can't throw. Well, here's the thing. They did say before the game, sideline reporter says, hey, he has turned the corner this week in the game, and he is going to be throwing it. He's back to where he was. Kirby Smart, after the game, says we weren't prepared for them to throw the ball like they did. We thought he was going to be limited in his passing. They played that way, which is why you had safeties on running backs and safeties on tight end. Linebackers on running backs and linebackers on tight ends. So the two things that Buster Faulkner knows, the way you get Georgia, and he saw this against Ole Miss. The only thing Ole Miss did was to look, you'd see Jackson Dart stare at the line and go, okay, with these 5 routes that we're about to run, which one is going to have a safety on it? Which one's going to have the star on it? Or which one's going to have a linebacker on it? And that's who he would throw to. King did the same thing. He's like, okay, I'm going to see if in this flag route will be covered by a safety. I'm going to throw against a safety. This dig route's going to be covered by a linebacker. I'm going to throw the dig. A crossing route here, they're going to have a little bump and a little pick off. I'm going to throw on the pick off because they're going to pick off a linebacker. So just like the Ole Miss attacked the B and C areas of the field, Georgia Tech did the same thing, and they go, if they blitz, throw where the blitz came from, and that's why they had 9 plays over 15 yards.
We got Lance McCurley here. Let me see if I can get him added in here. See if we can get old Lance in here. There he is.
What's up?
How was the
Lance was there, baby.
I was gonna say, were you on a sideline?
So I was in the press box for the first 3 quarters, and then they allow the media upstairs to go on the field with 5 minutes left. But I always leave to get a good spot, audio like this, to get a good spot at Kirby so I can get the best audio. And so I went on the field about 5 minutes ago, and I shot the entire 8 overtimes and pretty much the 4th quarter. It was absolutely insane. I was running up and down the field. I felt like I lost like 10 pounds. I'm so out of breath too.
How was it on the damn Roddy? How was it on the
that's my boy.
How was it on the field?
So
how was it on the field? What was it like?
Absolutely electric. The crowd, like Kirby gave credit in his post-game press conference, but like that crowd for literally when Georgia got down 27-13 with 5 minutes to go, that crowd stuck in it. And,
those that hadn't left yet.
Yeah. Lance, you there? Roddy?
It was cold. Do what?
Your internet went out. What'd you say, Lance?
The crowd was absolutely electric, especially they.
Yeah, he's not working.
Damn, boy.
Boy, it's bad everywhere.
It's tough down there. It's tough.
See if this will go on screen.
See, okay. Here's my problem. They would never have Georgia and Tennessee play again. They would find a way to not make that happen. Here's the problem with this bracket is this after tomorrow, it's going to look completely different. And then after next week, it's going to look completely different. So how much stock can you put into this?
I don't know. My point is, the reason I bring it up is, let's say Georgia and Texas play each other and Georgia wins. They're the number 2 seed. So I think I don't know that. So with Texas losing, Notre Dame maybe moves up a spot. Penn State moves up a spot. I could definitely see you wind up playing the winner of although if Ohio State loses, they drop back. I could see you being the number 2 seed and getting a Notre Dame or Penn State.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think for sure, because remember, Notre Dame cannot get a bye, right? So they are their highest they can go is 5. Yeah. You have a scenario, and they say again, they say they're not going to punish the conference champion or the not the conference champion, if you play in your conference championship, right? I don't believe that. I
can see a situation. Yeah, we know that's a lie, but I could see the loser of Oregon, Ohio State not dropping past 7, so Notre Dame can't move up there.
Sure.
Georgia knocks off Texas; they get that number 2 spot, but Texas isn't going to drop from 2 to 8 or something. I don't see that happening because they're number 2, so Notre Dame can't get past them. So I could see a situation where we're talking, it's going to look completely different, but I don't know if to be fair, like you say, if they don't punish the loser of the championship game, then maybe we don't see a complete makeover of this.
Right.
But I'm with you 100%. I do not believe and will never believe that they won't punch it, because the only thing we've seen that they care about is wins and losses.
Yeah.
And whoever loses, again, the biggest thing tonight was now tomorrow, this coming Saturday is not technically a win or else, because we have them on record saying, hey, we're not going to punish you. And if Georgia loses to Texas A&M or Texas and drops out completely for the second year in a row, Josh Brooks is going to burn that son of a bitch down.
For real. Here is the team that kind of, I think all of this rides on, Roddy, is you see Tennessee up there at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have to go to the SEC championship game. They also lost to Georgia. There is, and I truly believe this, there's a world where if Georgia loses in this SEC championship game, whether it's to Texas or Texas A&M, they somehow drop below Tennessee, and Tennessee gets a home game. Is my fear, right?
And host Georgia.
Right. And that in and of itself is the whole reason why. But James Carraway has brought up this point several times. He says the reason they can't punish if you go to a championship game is there's too much money involved with these championship games. And I see where he's coming from in a sense, like, if you punish that team that loses, they're just going to say, I'm not going to go, right? Or the championship is no longer a thing. But the way this bracket has set up and them putting Tennessee so high at 9, they can't fall. You see what I'm saying? They can't fall from 9. They're only going to go up. And
could anybody jump them though? Because we've seen that happen.
Okay, so this
SMU wins out, do they jump them?
No, here's a perfect scenario. Miami and SMU play in the ACC championship game. If Miami loses, do they just drop out completely though?
Yeah, probably I would say based on strength of schedule, they absolutely should, but they won't because it's all wins and losses. You're right.
But you can't drop a team out, right? Remember, that's what they've been saying this whole time.
Well, again, it's not dropping them out, but you could drop them past 9.
That is my fear with Georgia playing in this game. They They end up playing in this SEC championship game. Somehow they lose, right? Because we saw, I mean, they should have lost tonight. Let's call a spade, right? Like they put their backs against the wall. They somehow got away with a win, but they lose against Texas, right? I've said it. It's hard to be a team twice. Or you don't want to play A&M because they've got a running quarterback. So either way, right? They lose. I don't see them getting a home game. So then now you've lost.
No, they dropped too far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you lost an SEC championship game, and now you don't get a home game. And Tennessee got to sit at home, not play in that game, and now they get a home game. That is where this bracket.
You just know exactly what's going to freaking happen, because that's what always happens to Georgia. If there's a way Georgia can get screwed, it is always figured out. I'm with you 100%. That's exactly the bullshit that's going to come.
Yeah.
You're right, because here's the thing. Right. The committee will be able to say, go ahead.
Real quick, when I saw Tennessee at 9, Roddy, I knew that was what was coming.
Yeah. My thought is then the committee can say, look, Georgia lost the SEC championship game. They have 3 losses. We got to drop them here. But we're not dropping them out. They're
Correct.
number 11. They're
Correct.
number 12.
Correct.
They have to go on the road to Penn State.
Correct.
So they got to play the whiteout game up there at night in the fucking cold. And Tennessee's sitting there going, yeah, well, we moved up to number 7, so we're hosting, and they get to host the SMU or Miami, whoever lost that game,
or Indiana.
And so they run roughshod through them, and then they get a Texas A&M or
a Boise State.
They'll probably get the SMU. They'll probably get the ACC winner.
Yeah, they probably will. They'll probably get Miami or SMU.
They got it made in the shade again. But that was the sweet spot. Georgia, when we were talking, Georgia had 2 losses. We're like, hey, let's see where they're ranked. And sure enough, they were out of it. They're completely unranked. We're like, what the hell? We're 12. Like, yeah. 2 weeks later, you're in the SEC championship game. So this could all be academic, but at the same time, I'm like,
Jermaine King says that's the scenario that caused so many to not want to play in the SEC championship. Yeah, that is the exact scenario, and you have to, and I know that tonight was a must win, right? Because they put the percentages up, and they said if you lose tonight and lose an SEC championship game, you have 17% chance of making the playoff. It's literally less than 1. You weren't making it.
Because you got 4 losses at that point. You're out.
You're not making it. There's no way. But they said if you won tonight and then lost an SEC championship game, it was like a 93% chance of making it. Sure. Yes, I can agree with that. But
that doesn't mean you won't get effed.
Right. You lose your home game, and now you got to go to Ohio State because you're the 12th seed. Congratulations. You didn't miss the tournament, but now that's the thing that gets me is Tennessee lost to Georgia, and Georgia's now getting punished for it by having to go to the SEC championship game. And sure, they could win that game and get a bye. But there's also the possibility that they lose that game, and now they have to go on the road and play another game, and that's where it gets crazy. James Caraway says a lot more chaos incoming. Vandy may beat Tennessee. You probably want that if you're a Georgia fan. I don't know. Real quick before let me pull this up real quick. The games tomorrow that can really truly impact this thing. Michigan, Ohio State. What is the spread's 20?
Ohio State ain't losing that game after losing 3 in a row. They just spent how many millions of dollars they spent on that signing class?
Yeah,
transfer class.
And Michigan's 6-5. No, that's not happening. You could convince me here that Tennessee loses this game. You could convince me that. South Carolina, Clemson, boy.
No, that would only affect Clemson. That's not going
to. It wouldn't. Northwestern Illinois, no. Maryland, Penn State. Penn State's not losing that game.
No.
Notre Dame against USC. I don't see Notre Dame losing it.
There's some people that think USC's got a shot in this. I'm like, what? Have you watched USC this year?
This is a game. This is a game that could heavily favor Georgia because if Notre Dame loses that game, they're out. Right? They've already lost to Northern Illinois. They're out. So you definitely want to be rooting for USC tomorrow. This,
hey
folks,
Bear, if you've ever done anything for us, come on.
Yeah. This Syracuse in the Carrier Dome against Miami, but again, it's not really. I guess it could kind of help Georgia if Miami lost because they're ahead of them right now, but you still have the ACC winner. So SMU against Cal, that SMU's winning that, so there's no chance there. Auburn, Alabama doesn't really affect Georgia.
But you need Auburn to win that one just to keep Alabama from sneaking in the back door.
Yeah. 10.5-point spread at Bama. I could see an Auburn win there. Arizona State.
Auburn only wins at Auburn.
Yeah, you're right. True. Arizona State, they're sneaky, but go back to your thing here. Do they have any Big 12? So Arizona State is the Big 12 representative right now in there. Does it affect Georgia if they win or lose? I don't know. I don't think so.
But again, this is what Dane was saying. It could have affected them if Georgia had lost tonight, then won. Against Texas A&M. They're the SEC champs, but they're also sitting at like 15 because they lost tonight and dropped, or not 15, not quite that far, but they would have plummeted in the rankings if they lost tonight, and then they could be SEC champs, and you could have a Texas A&M or Georgia SEC champs sitting at like 12.
Yeah.
And if and Arizona State moved up, then all of a sudden, it's a little different.
Arkansas, Missouri, that game doesn't matter. Purdue, Indiana. I mean, Purdue's 1-10. Good God. Okay. Oregon, Washington. I don't think Washington. Talk about two teams that have completely fallen off after playing in the freaking college football playoff. Both teams are 6-5 right now, 4-4 in their conference in Washington and Michigan. I guess this is the game, right? This is the Kansas State, Iowa State doesn't really affect you, but except for Big 12, and then BYU, they're gone. UNLV, maybe just for the group of four, but no, this is it. Am I wrong here, guys? Are there any other games that can really affect Georgia seeding wise? Maybe South Carolina, Clemson is the only other one I can think of that changes this bracket drastically for Georgia if they were to lose the SEC championship game.
That Notre Dame game
Notre Dame's a big one. If you can get Notre Dame out of there, because right now on the bracket, let's go back to that. They're for sure hosting. They're for sure hosting a home game.
All right. Well, let's let this pass. Go back to your the stats there.
Yeah, let me get them.
That's all academic shit. I want to go back to tonight's game.
Let's get it here.
We got some damn helmet stickers to give out.
We do have some stickers to give out. You want to give them out?
Yeah, I'm going to give one to Haynes Key.
For real, though.
Brother fought his ass off, man.
He did, dude.
And again, I don't like Tech. I'm a Georgia grad, but at the same time, I got to respect a warrior like that. That dude was beat. How many times did he get hit on his shoulder or slammed into the dirt and just kept coming back?
Yeah, it was truly. I looked at him and I said, man, not so much Carson Beck, if like Carson Beck could have his fire, but if Georgia's whole team could have Haynes King fire, I mean, they would run. It would be 2021, 2022 all over again. Shout out to him.
They beat the Chiefs, man.
Yeah, he especially, I mean, Roddy, we didn't think he was playing, right? Like nobody thought he could throw the ball, and he comes out and does that. Just incredible performance by him. So shout out to him, an honorary helmet sticker, if you will.
He didn't have to wear it, but we're gonna give him one. We'll
right? Yeah, he won't wear it. We'll give him a dog bone though.
413 yards that kid had.
You know what? I don't know if I've given Beck a helmet sticker all year. I'm giving Beck one.
5 TDs. I mean, no interceptions.
And the reason being
47 drop passes.
Yeah, the reason I'm giving Beck one, Roddy, is tonight I changed. Okay. I'm a Beck. I can't think of the word. and not so much. I am a Beck sympathizer.
Okay, that's fair.
After watching, because they kept zooming in on him after the drops, and you could tell in his face he was like, "Dude, please just help me." Like it was a look of a guy who was like, "Dude, I'm doing everything I freaking can out here." And like you said, there was many a times where he either took off with the ball or he got sacked, I think twice, where earlier in the season he's throwing that and trying to press that in there and trying to get something, and it's an interception.
Yeah.
I'm a Beck sympathizer.
Remember that throw he had like a week ago or the week before where he put it in London Humphrey's chest so hard the kid could not drop it?
Right. He tried to do that a couple of times tonight, and they still dropped it. One of them didn't one of them hit somebody in the face mask tonight, or was that? I think it was.
Well, I think it was C.J. Allen on a when he came.
Oh no, yeah, it was. But and it was
six going the other way.
It was Urasek the game before, but I want to say Arian Smith got one hit in his head and he didn't catch it. But anyways, shout out to Carson Beck. I think this is my first time I'm giving him a helmet sticker on the year, rightfully so. On defense, it would be easy to give it to Smile. Dan Jackson.
I mean, game winner.
I'll give it to Dan Jackson. He forced the fumble, which you needed that right there. Like you could have potentially stopped them, but you would have had to use those timeouts, which they needed at the end there. So I'll give it to Dan Jackson on the defensive side of the ball. Those are my two. I might give out another one. Who you got, Roddy?
On offense, I mean, yeah, you scored 44 points. We should be throwing them out over there, but the offense just looks so terrible at times.
Didn't look good.
It's just hard for me. And people keep asking about Lawson Lucky. I mean, he did have 3 catches for 38 yards. I just don't remember any of them. I really don't. I'm like, maybe it was probably because I'm drunk off my ass, but I mean, I don't remember.
No, I don't remember. I'm sober tonight, and I do not remember them. Let's see when they were. Second quarter was all 3 of his. Damn, it was all on one drive. So 4 minutes 40 seconds, 4 minutes 10 seconds, and 3 minutes 50. So
those are 2 Urasic.
Oh shit! My bad. Damn, I clicked the wrong one. Close the panel. Lawson Lucky. Here we go. 2 in the. Oh, you know why? He threw it to him twice right there before they missed the field goal.
Okay. All right.
He went back to back to him before they missed the field goal, and then he had one in the fourth quarter, 17 yards deep to the right with 5 minutes left.
I don't remember that play.
I do not remember that.
But yeah. My point is, I want to go with Dominic Lovett for getting one. I mean, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns. But Lovett also
that second touchdown. That second touchdown, Roddy. Great body awareness to know that he was in the end zone, and he stood there. He didn't move off that, because very easily he could have like gone towards the ball in that situation and then been left at the 1. He stayed in the end zone and let that defensive back hit him from the back, but he stayed in the end zone to make sure it was a touchdown.
Yeah, well, they teach you to box out. Your route is to get in there, get in it. It's just like a first down. You get in, you spin around, you box out, and you catch it. So I give him credit for that one. And then that throw on his first touchdown, 3 guys in coverage, and Carson Beck drops it in there. So you've already given Carson Beck one. But so I got to give Lovett one for having 2 touchdowns and 47 yards, 5 catches. But again, there were 7 targets.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those, I know one was a drop. I think both were dropped.
I think both were, yeah.
Yeah, they got him listed as 1 drop. I'm like, meh. So I got to give him one. Defensively, I know you going with Dan Jackson there. I got to go with C.J. Allen. Again,
it's a good pick.
He did not lead the team in tackles. Smile had more, but he also had 8 solos. So he led the team in solo tackles by himself. Open field tackling is huge. He made some huge stops there. He ran over a guy. He also had 2 pass breakups. They attacked the linebackers. They attacked the safeties in coverage. And, hey, 2 pass breakups for your inside linebackers, pretty damn good. So that would be my 2. for now.
I'm curious on Daniel Harris, how many times he was targeted. And you can't see that here, but I don't feel like he was. I feel like they picked on Everett a little bit more, and I mean it would make sense. Everett had 10 tackles compared to Harris's 3, so maybe a little bone for Harris.
I don't think they were picking on him so much as it was because he also had a lot of run support there.
Yeah. Those slants against Everett though are just.
Here's the thing, yeah. I'm like, maybe he's told to play inside leverage or outside leverage instead of what we think, So if he's doing his technique, then that's on the coach,
right?
Damn, it's like, dude, a slant's coming,
and you would think
outside leverage,
and you know what, that might be a coaching thing because you would think by the time Dalen Everett's been a 3-year starter now. He wouldn't be playing those like that all the time.
Yeah.
Frazier, we can give one to Frazier. Yeah, we can give one. Let's split a bone in half. Let's give half of it to Frazier and half of it to Cash Jones. Both
you can give one to each. That's okay.
Yeah, that catch on Cash Jones, that throw for Carson to bait that safety in right there on that touchdown kind of wheel route to Cash Jones. That was a thing of beauty right there. And then Frazier, man, they couldn't really get the ball going on the ground. 26 attempts, 108 yards, 4.2 a carry.
But look at when Frazier touched it, what's the difference?
Yeah, but really it's those rushing numbers are kind of heavily stacked because you had that Arian Smith 1 for 30 right there. But yeah, Nate Frazier is a complete difference maker. Now, curious, Roddy, we going to see ETN in the SEC championship game?
The fact that he did not dress out tonight.
Didn't dress.
That says a lot because, last week you saw Branson Robinson and Roderick Robinson dress out.
Correct.
And granted, and also I think you're going to be limited for the SEC championship. Well, no, I'll take that back. You can take everybody. So when a guy doesn't dress the week before, I'm not really expecting him to play the next week. But when it is at all possible for you to play or you're close, then they at least have you dress out.
Yep.
Oh, and the thing, just to make the other team worry about it.
Well, that's what we said. That's what we said last week.
They chart them during workouts. They chart them during warmups. Who's dressed and who's not.
Yep. And we said that last week too. We were like, hey, Kirby wants you to be prepared for every step. And the next step for Roderick Robinson and Branson Robinson was to put pads on and be fully dressed out. We saw it this week. Roderick Robinson gets in the game. Etienne's on the sidelines in a hoodie, street clothes. It's not good. Colby Young did not dress tonight. He was in the stands. And he will not play in the SC championship game, Roddy, correct?
Yes. If you read my 3-2-1 column, will tell you, put on there that he is not practicing. He is at practice. He is not practicing with the team. He's practicing on the side, just like a guy that's injured. So everybody that's wrote, hey, he's back. He's not back because he's not running drills. He's not running ISO. He's not running good on good or 11 on 11 or 7 on 7 or half line or whatever you want to call it. He's not back yet. He's not going to play this week. He's not going to play next week. On the 10th, I believe he has his hearing. And after that, at that point, you hope that the DA follows the Equal Opportunity Commission at UGA that said that he could play, that they dropped the charges, and then he is back for the playoffs. But he won't be here this week or next week. And again, I don't expect the fact that you didn't have Trevor Etienne dressed out tonight does not bode well for his availability next week. He could, but
right.
I'm not counting on
it. Any other bones out there?
Jermaine, all those YouTubers saying he was back, and dude, that's. And here's the thing: a lot of people, yeah,
Roddy. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I know.
He's back. He's back. I'm like, no, there's a reason I wasn't reporting it when it happened.
Any other helmet stickers for you, boss?
How do you not give one to Small Munden for 13 tackles? I mean, I don't remember a huge play like we did last week, but at the same time, 13 tackles and a sack.
Yeah, that's I guess that's why I didn't give him to him, because yes, he had 13 tackles, but none of them, and I don't mean to sound this bad, like in a bad way, none of them are very rememberable.
Yeah, but I mean that's a yeoman's work, man.
Right, but again, yeah, exactly right. This, yeah, especially if they're not rememberable and you got 13 of them, that means you're just doing your job, right? So
yeah,
that's.
I mean, you took a man to the ground. A lot of them were, half a sack or half a tackle. He had 5 solo, but still, I mean, you were in on the pile and got kicked and landed on 13 times. That's I got to give you one there just for the work of it.
And
a couple times I'd like to take one back from Gabe Harris a couple times and Damon Wilson crashing in, and just how do you not play the tight end? How do you not play the quarterback? You know he's a running freaking quarterback, and you know he'll bounce to the outside, and you crash inside and you squeeze in repeatedly instead of playing your reads.
Yeah, I totally agree. Last helmet sticker for me, Beyond Creator says, gives the fans a helmet sticker, the ones who didn't leave. Yeah, shout out to those that stuck around there. And I don't know what you guys were waiting on. Your cars had heat in them, but somehow you decided to stick around, and you saw one of the best games probably in Sanford Stadium in the last, 10 years or so. Buddy of mine, Mr. Willie's son, Jake, he was at their game, and they've had tickets since season tickets were a thing. His grandmother just passed away, and so they can't have them anymore, right? This is their last game. He stayed for the whole game, and he said this was the best game he's ever been to, and he's been to a hell of a lot of games. So I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same way. That was a hell of a game to be at. So
yeah, Smile did have the horse collar.
He did. Hey, but you also
one play they had 25 yards.
You also gave a helmet sticker to Dom Lovett, and he had that fumble too. We forgot about that because it was so long ago, but he had that fumble as well.
Lovett the fumble?
Yeah, it was Lovett. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and again, that's why I said he had some bad plays, but he also had 2 TDs. So yeah, I'm gonna give one out of spite. Can I give a spite helmet sticker?
Yeah. What you want it for?
I'm gonna give one to Dylan Bell for running out there and never being used.
Oh God,
dude. Okay, he had 2 catches. Let's see, targets.
Catches, 4 targets.
Did he drop one? Yeah, he dropped one.
You got one drop, yeah.
But apparently that doesn't matter, because if you're Arian Smith, you can drop 2 in a game, and they still keep throwing to your ass. But Dylan Bell just disappeared in the 4th quarter, and especially, and again, I said it, so people kind of rolled their eyes, but I'm like, with all the guys dropping passes, because at that point you'd had so many dropped ones. I'm like, you want somebody to catch the ball, throw it to Dylan Bell, and he disappeared for the longest time, just like Nate Frazier disappeared. And I'm like, who the hell is running these rotations? Just freaking stop it. So
yeah. Hey, there we go. What time's the game next week? 3:30?
I always thought it was 4.
Let's see. SEC Championship game time.
Our entire freaking staff's going, so.
Let's see. Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy. 4 p.m. 4 p.m. next week. So won't be here with you guys until 3 a.m. next week, but we will be here. And that's good, because there'll be some championship games going on starting at 7. So when we get on here, we can kind of watch those with you guys. Want to wrap it up, Roddy?
Yeah. Shout out to the seniors again, who I know people say, well, these teams have been down, but the seniors leave undefeated in Sanford Stadium. I mean, just mind-boggling that Georgia has gone how many years in a row without losing at home?
It's a shit ton. Like 5, right?
5. And then you have they've never lost. Your senior is going to leave having never lost at home and having lost to Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, or Georgia Tech. I don't know that I would ever, and again, I started covering the team in 1993. I would never have believed that any team would go 4-0, any seniors or not, would go 4-0 against Auburn, or 4-0 against Tennessee, 4-0 against Tech. We've seen a couple. There's 2 other times where Georgia had gone, 7 in a row. They've never gone 8. But 4-0 against Florida, would never have ever believed that. And they did it against all of them. I know those teams have had some ups and downs, but still, just doing that against air is impressive. So shout out to the seniors. You did not want your last memory inside Sanford Stadium to be an 8 overtime loss.
God.
To those guys, to Brent Key. Remember the guy who hates Georgia football more than anything?
Yeah, that cried in Kirby's arms at the midfield.
Yeah. That dude looked like somebody had taken his soul.
Yeah. When he backed up from Kirby and the camera was on him, he looked defeated. So yeah, you're exactly right though. That would have been a absolute terrible memory for this senior class to have, losing in 8 overtimes at home. Instead, they didn't, and they were
they go out on top, baby.
Go out on top. Congrats to them. Shout out to KC. Shout out to Alderman for being a new member. Shout out to Mr. Sampson for gifting 5 memberships during the stream. Shout out to Amari for gifting, Justin Farmer, Chris Gorsey, Trip Ryder, Retro, Steven, Jason Sutherland. Jason Sutherland went the $500 bomb on us, man. We appreciate that.
And I do want to use that because I'm going to reach out to Jay Tate at our Auburn site. When he does these post-game shows, people send him $100, $200, $500. One guy sent like $1,000. They send him bottles of Pappy. He gets all this stuff. That's not why we did it. It's just the Auburn fans are crazy, and they love Jay's show, and they send him all this stuff. And Jay's like, hell, I love it. I'm like, well, of course you do. But I'm like, look, we don't ask our guys to do that. And I don't think he does. I just think it started out. And I will say he's kind of lorded that over us. But now I'm going to go put this one in his face and go, shut up, Jay.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, hey, the Georgia fans care just as much or more than you stupid Auburn fans. So
right there it is. $4.99 from Jason Sutherland again.
And he's also a member of our UGA Sports Extra on YouTube.
Yes.
Which, by the way, there were 2 good film breakdowns that were members only on this channel.
Oh, just from this video alone, we got just from this show alone, we got 10 new members. 5 gifted from Mr. Sampson. We had a bunch of other folks showing up. Stick D says Paul survived another late overreaction, and Roddy hung in there to the end with us. 2 helmet stickers. Yeah, appreciate it, brother. 3:07 a.m. Guys, we appreciate you so much. This is the post-game overreaction show presented by UGAsports.com. Roddy Nabolsi's in the background there. His camera wasn't working, but he's here the whole time. I'm Paul Meharry, sponsored by Benton & Benton Attorneys at Law, the Rogue Shop, and ASW Distillery. Make sure to help those that help us. And also, before you leave out, guys, do me a quick favor. Hit a like on this video and share it to 2 of your closest friends. It helps us out a ton. And we will see you next week for the post-game overreaction show, SEC Championship Edition. Make sure you watch that Texas A&M game, because the winner of that is who Georgia will be facing next weekend. Thank you all for the support. We can't do this show without you, and we appreciate you so much. Have a great Saturday. Great Saturday of football, and you don't have to worry about watching Georgia. They already won 44-42 over Tech. We'll see you next week. Thanks.